Chapter 1907. You two back off. Let me do it. While Xiao Yun and Yi Su didn't know what to do, Tang Ao's voice indifferently rang out. At that moment, the Wolf King was approaching Xiao Yun and the others with heavy steps. In the tense atmosphere, Xiao Yun and Yi Su could even hear their own heartbeats. Even though the two of them heard Tang Ao's words, they didn't know what to do. Or perhaps, in their minds, their cultivation was stronger than Tang Ao's. So, even at a time like that, they still stood in front. Looking at the heavy steps of the Wolf King, Tang Ao was not nervous at all. He only said, "Scram." As a monstrous beast at the peak of the 6th level of the Origin Realm, the Wolf King's intelligence was extremely high. So, naturally, it understood Tang Ao's words. The reason why it approached them so slowly was because it wanted to make them sink into endless despair and fear and completely lose their fighting strength. But the Wolf King never would have thought that it would meet a madman. That's right. From the Wolf King's perspective, Tang Ao was a madman. From the Wolf King's perception, Tang Ao only had the cultivation of the 1st level of the Origin Realm. Such a weak little ant could be smashed to death with a single claw. But at that instant, the weak little ant dared to speak arrogantly in front of it and humiliated it. How could the Wolf King swallow that? Asterisk roar. Asterisk after a furious howl. The Wolf King rose into the air and pounced towards Tang Ao. The sharp claws carried a wave of energy in the air. Just this wave of energy was not something that Xiao Yun and Yi Su could block. After Tang Ao stood in front, the Wolf King's aura was completely blocked by Tang Ao. Xiao Yun and Yi Su came back to their senses. When the two of them saw that Tang Ao was in front of them, they were very worried in their hearts. This iron-bone Wolf King wasn't something that the few of them could contend against. In front of this iron-bone Wolf King, they couldn't even escape, let alone resist it. Brother Tang Ao, seeing the iron-boned wolf pouncing towards Tang Ao, Xiao Yun cried out in fear. His eyes were filled with despair. It wasn't that he didn't work hard in his cultivation. On the contrary, among the disciples of the Heavenly Star Academy, Xiao Yun was the most diligent in his cultivation. However, for some unknown reason, Xiao Yun's cultivation progress was very slow. At that moment, basically everyone else in the academy cultivated to the 4th level of the Origin Realm. Xiao Yun was still lingering around the 3rd level of the Origin Realm. At this moment, Xiao Yun was helpless. He could only watch helplessly as the steel-boned Wolf King pounced towards Tang Ao. However, it was completely different from what Xiao Yun imagined. When the steel-boned Wolf King pounced towards Tang Ao, Xiao Yun only saw Tang Ao casually kick it. After that, the steel-boned Wolf King was kicked away by Tang Ao like a ball. The scene in front of their eyes stunned Xiao Yun and Yi Su. One had to know that teacher Sima Yin, who was at the peak of the 7th level of the Origin Realm, had to join hands with teacher Li Jiu to fight a strong monster like the steel-boned Wolf King. Only after a bitter battle could they subdue the monster or cover everyone's retreat. However, right now, the steel-boned Wolf King was kicked away by Tang Ao. Xiao Yun slapped himself. Xiao Yun wanted to confirm whether or not he was dreaming. Yi Su pinched Xiao Yun's arm and rolled his eyes at him. Clearly, everyone was mistaken. Tang Ao was not some hedonistic young master who mistakenly entered the 4th area. He was a hidden expert. Chapter 1908. The principal of the Heavenly Star Academy, Li Tianxing, was at the 8th level of the Origin Martial Realm. He had seen Li Tianxing fight against a peak 6th level Origin Martial Realm monster. Although it wasn't as strenuous as Si Mayan and Li Jiu, it still took a lot of effort. He simply couldn't do what Tang Ao did, sending the Wolf King flying with one kick. After being sent flying by Tang Ao's kick, the iron-boned Wolf King was also stunned. The iron-boned Wolf King didn't even know how it flew back. Looking at Tang Ao in front of it, the iron-boned Wolf King roared again and charged at Tang Ao. However, this time, the Wolf King had only taken a few steps before Tang Ao's surging aura enveloped the surrounding space. Under this aura, the Wolf King was so scared that it knelt on the ground. The Wolf King's intelligence was very high. Therefore, it knew that this time it had provoked an existence that it absolutely could not provoke. The strength of the martial artist in front of it was beyond the Wolf King's imagination. The Wolf King couldn't understand why there was such a powerful martial artist. Say, Junior, spare me. The Wolf King and the snow-winged spirit cat were both at the peak of the 6th level of the origin martial realm, but the Wolf King's intelligence was really high. At that moment, it was using a very shaky human language to beg Tang Ao for mercy. Before Tang Ao could say anything, Xiao Meng jumped down from the snow-winged spirit cat and softly said, "Spare it." At the same time, Xiao Meng also walked towards the Wolf King. She extended her hand and touched the golden fur on the Wolf King's neck. Although it was shocked by Tang Ao's powerful aura, the Wolf King's pride made it unwilling to be touched by a little girl. Immediately, the Wolf King opened its huge mouth and let out a sky-shaking roar. Xiao Meng was caught off guard and scared by the Wolf King. Seeing that Xiao Meng was fine, the Wolf King's eyes were full of doubt. In the Wolf King's opinion, its roar should have blown Xiao Meng away. However, Xiao Meng was not blown away. It was just that when it suddenly roared, it scared Xiao Meng. At this moment, Xiao Meng turned around with a straight face. Immediately, the powerful aura of the half-step life and death realm erupted. This terrifying aura directly sent the Ironbone Wolf King flying. The surrounding Ironbone wolves were directly pressed into the hard ground by this terrifying aura, unable to move. Next, Little Meng took a step forward. With a single step, she crossed over Tianzhong and arrived before the Iron-Boned Wolf King. Immediately, Xiao Meng raised her small fist and punched the Iron-Boned Wolf King. "You ugly thing, you actually dare to scare me. If it weren't for me, you would have been beaten to death by Big Brother Tang Ao. How dare you laugh at me? I'm going to beat the shit out of you." As Little Meng spoke, her small fists fell like raindrops. Although Little Meng's fists couldn't hurt the Iron-Boned Wolf at all, and Little Meng didn't use her aura to confine it, the Iron-Boned Wolf King didn't dare to move at all. The Iron-Boned Wolf King's heart was collapsing. Originally, it thought that after cultivating to the peak of the 6th level of the Origin Realm, it would be the overlord of this area. But today it met Tang Ao and Xiao Meng. The two of them were actually more terrifying than the other. The Iron-Boned Wolf King was already in despair. At that time, Xiao Meng seemed to have thought of something. She didn't continue hitting the Wolf King, and she quickly formed hand seals with her hands. Looking at the hand seals Xiao Meng formed, Tang Ao's heart froze. Tang Ao was very familiar with that hand seal. It was the hand seal used to make a spirit beast contract. However, Tang Ao never would have thought that Xiao Meng, as the weapon spirit of the Big Dream Pagoda, could also use that hand seal to make a contract with a spirit beast. The Iron-Boned Wolf King's intelligence was not low. Naturally, it knew the hand seal Xiao Meng was making. However, the Wolf King didn't reject making a spirit beast contract with Xiao Meng in the slightest because it was truly afraid of Tang Ao and Xiao Meng. To be able to make a spirit beast contract with such a powerful person, the Iron-Boned Wolf King was very happy. As Xiao Meng's hand slapped down, a pagoda-shaped mark appeared on the head of the Iron-Boned Wolf King. Looking at this pagoda-shaped mark, Tang Ao was secretly curious. After Xiao Meng and the Iron-Boned Wolf King formed a spirit beast contract, Tang Ao found that he could control the Iron-Boned Wolf King and even control its life and death. Was this one of the abilities of the Big Dream Pagoda? Tang Ao was right. Controlling spirit beasts was indeed one of the abilities of the Big Dream Pagoda. Originally, Great Dream Dao Venerate left a detailed jade slip, but he didn't expect that the jade slip he left behind would be taken by Sikong Jio. Although Sikong Jio got the jade slip, what made Sikong Jio helpless was that he didn't bring any delicious food with him. Xiao Meng simply ignored him. Moreover, in the Big Dream Pagoda, even if he fought with Xiao Meng, he wouldn't be Xiao Meng's opponent at all. After Xiao Meng subdued the Iron-Boned Wolf King, the rest of the Iron-Boned Wolves instantly scattered. Even the Iron-Boned Wolf King was subdued. Were they going to stay here and wait for death? After subduing the Iron-Boned Wolf King, Xiao Meng jumped onto the back of the Iron-Boned Wolf King. Seeing Xiao Meng jump onto the back of the Iron-Boned Wolf King, the snow-winged spirit cat flapped its wings and then sat on Xiao Meng's back. Chapter 1909. After Tang Ao had subdued the iron-boned wolf king, Xiao Yun and Yi Su also came over in shock. Originally, when they encountered the iron-boned wolf king, the two of them would definitely die. However, the two of them did not expect that this seemingly young youth who got lost in the Scarlet Wasteland would be so powerful. The scene of Tang Ao sending the iron-boned wolf king flying with a kick was still vivid in Xiao Yun and Yi Su's minds. Big brother Tang Ao, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. Xiao Yun walked forward and looked at Tang Ao with eyes full of worship and respect. After Xiao Yun finished speaking, Yi Su hit him with his elbow and immediately said, "Don't call me big brother, call me senior." Tang Ao's cultivation was clearly stronger than the Heavenly Star Academy's dean. Although Tang Ao was young, Tang Ao's strength was unquestionable. "Oh, senior." It had to be said that Xiao Yun was a little dumbfounded. At this moment, when Yi Su told him to call Tang Ao senior, he did not hesitate to call him Senior Tang Ao. Seeing his appearance, Tang Ao could not help but laugh. However, although Tang Ao seemed to be the same age as Xiao Yun and Yi Su, in reality, Tang Ao had cultivated for 8,000 years in his previous life. Therefore, Tang Ao was still worthy of being called senior. Moreover, there was no seniority in learning, only the accomplished were the teachers. In the world of martial arts, there was no distinction of age, only the strong were respected. Seeing that even after Tang Ao revealed his strength, he did not have the arrogance of an expert. Yi Su hesitated for a moment, then said to Tang Ao, "Senior, Xiao Yun's nature is simple and honest. His martial arts talent is also not bad. If Senior doesn't have a disciple, could you accept Xiao Yun as your disciple?" Yi Su's words caused Tang Ao to be surprised. This was because Tang Ao did not have any intention of accepting a disciple. But if he wanted to accept Xiao Yun as his disciple, it was not impossible. Xiao Yun was a warm and honest person. Accepting Xiao Yun as a disciple was also possible. As for Xiao Yun's cultivation, Tang Ao didn't care at all. After his soul sea and spirit sea recovered, Tang Ao had completely entered the ranks of a grade 1 alchemy master. No matter what happened to Xiao Yun, Tang Ao had a way to make his cultivation advance by leaps and bounds. Thinking up to this point, Tang Ao's expression turned serious as he looked at Xiao Yun and asked, "Are you willing to take me as your master?" Xiao Yun had already witnessed Tang Ao's abilities. Now that Tang Ao was willing to accept him as a disciple, Xiao Yun was naturally overjoyed. One must know that Tang Ao's strength was even stronger than the principal of the Heavenly Star Academy. The principal of the Heavenly Star Academy only had 3 disciples, and these 3 disciples were all instructors of the Heavenly Star Academy. The previous instructor, Li Jiao, was the first disciple of the principal. Although he was happy, Xiao Yun still looked at Yi Su. Every time he couldn't make up his mind, he would ask Yi Su. When Yi Su saw Xiao Yun like this, he felt both touched and helpless. The fact that Tang Ao was willing to accept Xiao Yun as a disciple could be said to be Xiao Yun's fortune. In the entire Flying Star continent, there was definitely no martialist who was stronger than Tang Ao. "Blockhead, hurry up and acknowledge me as your master." Yi Su looked at the dumbfounded Xiao Yun. He was happy for him, but at the same time, he was disappointed that Xiao Yun didn't live up to his expectations. Xiao Yun smiled embarrassedly and hurriedly bowed to Tang Ao. Disciple Xiao Yun pays his respects to Master. After saying that, Xiao Yun immediately said, "Master, junior sister Yi Su's talent in the martial Tao is much better than mine. Master, why don't you accept her as a disciple?" No matter how stupid Xiao Yun was, he knew that it was a great fortune to have Tang Ao as his master. Chapter 1910. Even the Black-Yellow Continent, Sea of Soul Realm cultivation base, and above could establish a sect. Right now, Tang Ao's cultivation base was at the Sea of Soul Realm. However, Tang Ao was a peerless expert at the peak of the 9th layer of astral reaching realm in his previous life. As long as he could leave the Flying Star continent, Tang Ao would be able to recover his cultivation base to the life and death realm very quickly. Therefore, Tang Ao taking Xiao Yun as a disciple was truly a great fortune for Xiao Yun. After hearing Xiao Yun's words, Tang Ao also looked at Yi Su. Tang Ao could naturally see the relationship between Xiao Yun and Yi Su. The two were clearly in love with each other. However, neither of them had made it clear. Whether it was Xiao Yun or Yi Su, both of them were upright. Therefore, taking both of them as disciples was nothing. Yi Su was naturally aware of Tang Ao's intentions. She immediately felt delighted and knelt down on one knee. Disciple Yi Su greets Master. Previously, Yi Su had also wondered whether a senior like Tang Ao would only take one disciple. Therefore, after recommending Xiao Yun to Tang Ao, Yi Su had no intention of taking him as her master. What surprised Yi Su was that Tan Gao was still willing to take her as a disciple after giving up Xiao Yun. Although she mainly cultivated alchemy, Tang Ao was able to cultivate martial Dao to such a high level. She could naturally learn a lot by following beside Tang Ao. Little Yi seems to be an alchemist. When Tang Ao saw that Yi Su's attacking method was alchemy fire, he naturally knew that Yi Su was an alchemist. Moreover, his alchemy level shouldn't be low. Otherwise, his control over alchemy fire couldn't have reached such a level. After Tang Ao asked, before Yi Su could reply, Xiao Yun said excitedly, Master, junior sister Yi Su is a very powerful alchemist. She entered the ranks of 9-star alchemists half a year ago. Tang Ao had previously guessed that Yi Su's alchemy level shouldn't be weak. However, Tang Ao didn't expect that Yi Su's alchemy level had actually reached the level of 9-star alchemist. However, to Tang Ao, a 9-star alchemist could only be said to be not bad. After all, Tang Ao's alchemy skills had reached the standard of a grade 1 alchemy master. Yi Su also did not know how good Tang Ao's alchemy Dao would be if his martial Dao was so impressive. After all, there were very few martial arts experts who were proficient in alchemy. Yi Su was really afraid that Tang Ao didn't know alchemy at all. Wouldn't that make Tang Ao lose face? Therefore, Yi Su just nodded and said, Master, I have some talent in alchemy, but my martial arts cultivation is very lacking. Tang Ao naturally saw through Yi Su's concerns. Immediately, Tang Ao smiled nonchalantly and took out a jade slip. This jade slip was a summary of Tang Ao's alchemy experience from a grade 1 spirit alchemy master to a grade 6 spirit alchemy master. Yi Su could cultivate to become a 9-star spirit alchemy master on the Flying Star continent, which showed that his talent in alchemy was very good. Therefore, Tang Ao was prepared to impart his alchemy inheritance to Yi Su. Yi Su was stunned when he saw the jade slip that Tang Ao handed over. Then he took the jade slip from Tang Ao and opened it. After scanning the first 2 chapters with his soul remembrance, Yi Su was so excited that he almost shouted. As there were no alchemists above 9-star alchemists in the Flying Star continent, Yi Su lost his direction after cultivating to 9-star alchemy master. Chapter 1911. After receiving this jade strip, Yi Su was very excited. Yi Su knew that if she stayed in the Heavenly Star Academy, she would never be able to break through the shackles of a 9-star pill master. On the path of cultivation, one's own effort and talent were important, but as the saying goes, a great teacher produces a great disciple. The problem that she had pondered for half a year without any clues was easily solved after meeting Tang Ao. After giving Yi Su his pill refining heart, Tang Ao once again handed over a jade strip. This jade strip was the first chapter of the 100 Herb Collection. The 100 Herb Collection had a total of 9 chapters, but the first 3 chapters already included all the spiritual herbs. An outstanding pill refiner, in addition to outstanding pill refining ability, could not fall behind in the recognition of spiritual herbs. Only by being familiar with the various characteristics of spiritual herbs could one create more practical pill recipes and increase the efficiency of pill refining. After seeing Tang Ao give Yi Su 2 jade strips, Xiao Yun was also looking forward to what kind of greeting gift his master would give him, but it was obviously not his turn yet. After giving Yi Su 2 jade strips, Tang Ao also took out the black crag pill furnace that he had previously refined and immediately said to Yi Su, "This pill furnace is a pill furnace that I refined myself, and it should be enough for you to use at this stage. If you have any questions regarding pill refining, you can ask me at any time." Speaking till here, Tang Ao paused for a moment, then said, "Since you have become my disciple, you cannot slack off in your martial cultivation. Although a pill refiner has a respected status, a pill refiner without the ability to protect himself is just a fat sheep in the eyes of others." Tang Ao stopped here and did not say anything else. However, Tang Ao believed that with Yi Su's intelligence, she would definitely be able to understand what he meant. This disciple will remember. Yi Su was originally extremely intelligent, so she also understood Tang Ao's words. However, there was still one thing that Yi Su did not understand. With Tang Ao's cultivation, it would not be a problem for him to move unhindered across the Flying Star continent. Although Yi Su would not rely on Tang Ao's name to intimidate others, as long as they knew that she was Tang Ao's disciple, no one would dare to have any ideas on her. But what Yi Su didn't know was that Tang Ao's vision would never be limited to the Flying Star continent. Right now, Tang Ao's cultivation was indeed strong enough to dominate the entire Flying Star continent. However, when he went to a wider world, Tang Ao would also have to keep improving in order to survive. After explaining everything to Yi Su, Tang Ao took out a long spear from his storage ring and handed it to Xiao Yun. This spear was a top-notch 6th-grade spirit artifact. It was many times better than the spear that Xiao Yun was currently using. Not long ago, Tang Ao went to Dao Venerate Great Dream's treasury and found countless treasures. Tang Ao even had many immortal artifact spears in his chaotic 6-light mirror space. However, Xiao Yun's cultivation base was too low. Even if he was given an immortal artifact, he wouldn't be able to unleash its full power. In that case, Tang Ao might as well give him a top-notch 6th-grade spear. In addition to the spear, Tang Ao also took out a spear technique manual and a cultivation method jade slip for Xiao Yun to cultivate on his own. After Xiao Yun and Yi Su acknowledged each other as their masters, Tang Ao's group of 4 continued to move forward. Although both Xiao Yun and Yi Su could not wait to read the ancient books that Tang Ao had given them, it was obvious that Tang Ao wanted to rush to Evergreen Market. Therefore, the two naturally did not want to delay. Chapter 19:12. And that's fine. Do you two know the way to Evergreen Market from here? Tang Ao didn't care about these things. Xiao Yun and Yi Su could deal with it themselves. Although they could reach Evergreen Market in half a day on Heavenly Star Academy's flying spirit boat, Tang Ao didn't plan on waiting that long. If Tang Ao used the Wind Thunder Dark Cloud, even if he brought Yi Su and Xiao Yun, he could definitely reach Evergreen Market in less than an instant's time. However, what troubled Tang Ao was that Tang Ao really didn't know how to get to Evergreen Market. Xiao Yun and Yi Su nodded their heads. Yi Su added, "Master, Heavenly Star Academy's flying spirit boat was obtained from a ruin. It's very fast. If you take the flying spirit boat, you can reach Evergreen Market in less than half a day." Yi Su could tell that Tang Ao was in a hurry to get to Evergreen Market, so he reminded him. After all, the distance from here to Evergreen Market was extremely far. With Yi Su's current knowledge, the fastest way to get to Evergreen Market was by taking the flying spirit boat. However, what Yi Su didn't know was that the flying spirit boat that Heavenly Star Academy treated as a treasure wasn't much in Tang Ao's eyes. This was because the Heavenly Star Academy's flying spirit boat was merely a grade 4 spiritual artifact. Tang Ao was a peak grade 6 refiner. As long as Tang Ao was willing, he could refine a grade 6 flying spirit boat at any time. However, even if it was a grade 6 flying spirit boat, it was still inferior to Tang Ao's Wind Thunder Dark Cloud. Now that Tang Ao was in a hurry to get to Evergreen Market, Tang Ao naturally prepared to use the Wind Thunder Dark Cloud to bring Xiao Yun and Yisu there. And, suddenly, Tang Ao's brows moved because Tang Ao's soul remembrance scanned that there was a very intense battle ahead. However, it was a bit far from here, so Tang Ao couldn't see the situation ahead. Let's go over and see. From the ripples of the battle, Tang Ao determined that there were many martial artists fighting with monstrous beasts. The aura of the monstrous beast was very strong, and it reached at least the 7th level of the Origin Realm, or even higher. After getting closer, Yisu and Xiao Yun could also feel the terrifying Yuan Qi fluctuations in the surroundings. Waves of violent Yuan Qi surged over, causing the two of them to tremble. At this time, Tang Ao was able to clearly see that the students of the Heavenly Star Academy were fighting with the two monstrous beasts. The two monstrous beasts were extremely horrifying monstrous beasts at the 7th level of the Origin Realm. Samayan stalled one of them, while Li Jio and the remaining students had a bitter battle with the other monstrous beast. Tang Ao noticed that although it would not be easy for Mayan to win, he would definitely not lose in the short term. In fact, if Mayan was lucky enough to grasp the demonic beast's weakness, it would not be impossible for Mayan to win. However, it was clear that Li Jio would not be able to last until Mayan won. Under the Bone Dragon demonic beast attacks, Li Jio and the group of Heavenly Star Academy students were in imminent danger. The arrival of Tang Ao and the others instantly attracted everyone's attention. Seeing people arrive, Li Jio and the group of Heavenly Star Academy students were delighted. However, when they saw that it was Tang Ao and the others, they were instantly splashed with a bucket of cold water. Tang Ao's current cultivation was still at the 1st level of the Origin Realm, while Xiao Yun was only at the 3rd level of the Origin Realm. Yisu's strength was slightly better, reaching the 4th level of the Origin Realm. Chapter 19:13. Although they had the advantage in numbers, they did not have any advantage in the battle against the two-winged bone dragon. On the contrary, many students were already injured by the two-winged bone dragon's attack, and the situation was precarious. Seeing that it was Yisu and the other two, Li Jio did not expect Tang Ao and the other two to be able to help. Although there were 4 people in Tang Ao's group, Tang Xiaoming, who was riding on the Iron Bone Wolf King's head, was obviously ignored by Li Jio. Also because of that, Li Jio did not even notice that the wolf Tang Xiaoming was riding on was the peak of the 6th level of the Origin Realm. Yisu, help me get in touch with the Dean, Li Jio yelled. The Bone Dragon at the 7th level of the Origin Realm was too much for Li Jio. Even though there were 10 Heavenly Star Academy students on the side, Li Jio, who was attacking from the front, still felt endless pressure. Li Jio knew that if this continued, and at most the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, he would certainly fall under the hands of the Bone Dragon. And if he died, the remaining students would absolutely not be able to fight against the Bone Dragon. It could be said that other than Samayan, who was at the 7th level of the Origin Realm, no one else could escape even if they wanted to. At this time, perhaps only the principal himself would be able to resolve the situation. However, the principal of the Heavenly Star Academy, Hua Chuangong, had already entered the 5th district of the Scarlet Wasteland half a month ago, and there was no news of him until now. Therefore, Li Jio naturally knew that even if he sent a message to the Dean now, the Dean would not be able to sense it. However, Li Jio still had a sliver of hope in his heart. Or rather, other than seeking help from the Dean, Li Jio did not know what else to do. Hearing Li Jio's words, Yisu hurriedly looked at Tang Ao. When the students who were fighting the two-winged bone dragon saw that Yisu didn't immediately seek help from the Dean and instead looked at Tang Ao, they were so furious that they were about to spit fire. Now that the situation was so dangerous, Yisu was still hesitating. One had to know that the earlier the Dean had arrived, the greater their chances of survival. As for whether or not the Dean could really take it, no one dared to think about this question at this moment. Because if the headmaster couldn't make it in time, what awaited them would be death. Therefore, they could only hope that the Dean would rush over as soon as he received the news. Therefore, Yisu, who did not send a distress signal to the dean in time, naturally became the sinner in their eyes. No need. After seeing Yisu look at him, Tang Ao said casually. Tang Ao didn't know where the principal of the Heavenly Star Academy was, but Tang Ao was sure that by the time the principal arrived, the students of the Heavenly Star Academy would already be dead. Previously, it was only Li Jio's side that could not hold on, but at this moment, Sima Yin's side was also experiencing a sudden phenomenon. The two-winged bone dragon summoned a sea of bones, directly enveloping Sima Yin within it. The sharp bone spikes also pierced through Sima Yin. After suffering such a heavy injury, Sima Yin's aura also rapidly weakened. The reason why Sima Yin fell for it was because he was too worried about Li Jio. In the end, he was distracted and fell for it. After sensing the state of his body, Sima Yin knew that he would have to die here today. At the same time, these students would also be finished. Looking at the gigantic claws of the two-winged bone dragon that blotted out the sun, Sima Yin knew that everything was over. No, teacher Sima. No. Quick dodge. Chapter 1914. However, after a long time, everyone put down the two-winged bone dragon's powerful claw. For some reason, it had stopped in midair. When they looked carefully, they saw a white-robed youth under the two-winged bone dragon's claw. Everyone felt that the white-robed young man looked familiar, and very quickly they remembered. Wasn't that Tang Tian? So powerful. Everyone was secretly amazed when they saw Tang Ao block the two-winged bone dragon's claw with one hand. As for Sima Yin, who knew the might of the two-winged bone dragon's claw, he was so shocked by Tang Ao's move that his eyeballs nearly popped out. Tang Ao had actually used his human body to block the two-winged bone dragon's claw with his bare hands. What kind of god was Tang Ao? At such a close distance, Sima Yin was certain that he hadn't seen wrongly. Tang Ao had actually used his body to block the two-winged bone dragon's claw without using any life, soul, or spirit artifact. After blocking the Iron Bone Wolf King's claw, Tang Ao said coldly, "Scram." Hearing Tang Ao's words, the Ironbone Wolf King that little Meng was riding trembled. Not long ago, it had almost been killed by Tang Ao because of Tang Ao's words. At this moment, the two-winged bone dragon had clearly committed the same mistake as the Ironbone Wolf King. Although it didn't know how a weak ant like Tang Ao had blocked its claw, the two-winged bone dragon clearly didn't have any thoughts of letting Tang Ao off. It opened its huge mouth, and a purple dragon breath swept towards Tang Ao. Seeing the dragon breath, Sima Yin exclaimed, "Retreat!" The two-winged bone dragon's dragon breath was very powerful and contained a lethal poison. Sima Yin had almost been hit a few times before, so he had been constantly on guard against the two-winged bone dragon's dragon breath when fighting it. However, what shocked Sima Yin was that Tang Ao didn't even have the thought of moving when facing the two-winged bone dragon's terrifying dragon breath. As long as one was hit by this dragon breath, they would be injured at best and lose their lives at worst. Sima Yin didn't know what Tang Ao was doing. One had to know that as long as he was hit by the dragon breath, he would be finished. Under everyone's gazes, the two-winged bone dragon's dragon breath finally swept towards Tang Ao. However, the instant the dragon breath swept towards Tang Ao disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in the air. At the same time, an earth-shattering kick exploded from Tang Ao's leg. A ball of golden light swept through the horizon. Under Tang Ao's fierce kick, the crowd only saw the peak of the 7th level of the Origin Realm, the two-winged bone dragon, being kicked flying. While Tang Ao was dealing with the two-winged bone dragon, the other two-winged bone dragon broke away from Li Jio and the others and attacked Tang Ao. This time, the green lotus sword soul behind Tang Ao flashed with green light, and a sword radiating cold light appeared in Tang Ao's hand. Tang Ao didn't even turn his head. He only took advantage of the situation and slashed. It was clearly a normal slash, but with that slash, a terrifying half-moon sword aura exploded from the Azure Lotus Sword. The aura was majestic as if it was going to tear the world apart. Asterisk pu asterisk after the slash. Everyone saw Tang Ao's terrifying sword aura pass through the two-winged bone dragon's body. Immediately after, the arrogant two-winged bone dragon fell from the air. Asterisk rumble 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 asterisk when the huge body smashed onto the ground. The ground unceasingly trembled. Until now, everyone still hadn't come back to their senses. What happened just now? Chapter 1915. Only at that time did Samayan and Li Jiao come back to their senses. They were too shocked. The two of them personally saw the Dean Hua Chuangong fight against a monstrous beast at the 7th level of the Origin Realm. Although the Dean won in the end, it was a small victory after a bitter battle. But now, the two-peak 7th level Origin Realm two-winged bone dragons were instantly killed by Tang Ao in front of him. At that moment, Mayan and Li Jiao's hearts were in turmoil. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't dare to believe that there was such a strong cultivator in the Flying Star Continent. Even when they saw it with their own eyes, they still felt that it was unreal. The Heavenly Star Academy students who survived the calamity looked at Tang Ao with lifeless faces. Before, when Tang Ao asked for directions, these people saw Tang Ao, but they didn't even take Tang Ao seriously. However, after witnessing Tang Ao's strength, they finally understood that this seemingly ordinary white-clothed youth was actually an existence that was even stronger than their dean. Senior, thank you for saving us. Suppressing the shock in their hearts, Mayan and Li Jiao cupped their hands towards Tang Ao and said. The other students also came to a realization. They bowed and cupped their hands together, saying, "Thank you, Senior, for saving us." Tang Ao waved his hand without care, then pointed at Xiao Yun and Yi Su and said, "These two have already become my disciples. I'll have to trouble you to take care of the following matters." Tang Ao didn't know if there were any conditions for the Heavenly Star Academy students to take a master, nor did he know if Yi Su and Xiao Yun could leave the Heavenly Star Academy just like that. But Tang Ao knew that with Mayan's identity, it was naturally not a problem for him to take care of these matters. After hearing Tang Ao's words, Mayan was extremely happy in his heart. Yi Su and Xiao Yun could be taken as disciples by a strong cultivator like Tang Ao. It could be said that it was their fortune. As for the rest of the Heavenly Star Academy's disciples, they were looking at Xiao Yun and Xiao Luo with endless envy. Previously, when Tang Ao came to ask for directions, everyone's attitude was very unfriendly. In the end, only Xiao Yun and Yi Su were willing to team up with Tang Ao. But no one had ever imagined that this young man who did not reveal himself would actually be a martial artist who was even more valiant than their dean. The matters of the world were really unpredictable. Under everyone's envious gazes, Tang Ao rolled up his sleeves and a thunder cloud condensed under Tang Ao's feet. Xiao Yun and Yi Su were also brought onto the thunder cloud by Tang Ao. Subsequently, thunder cloud trembled, and Tang Ao and the others' figures instantly disappeared. Even soul remembrance couldn't detect them. Clearly, in that instant, Tang Ao and the others had left the range of everyone's soul remembrance detection. This man must be the strongest expert on the Flying Star Continent. While everyone was still amazed by Tang Ao's methods, a powerful voice came from behind them. The person who came was an old man with white hair and a fan cloud crown. After seeing this old man, everyone bowed and greeted. Sir Dean. Hua Chuangong casually waved his hand. He was still shocked by Tang Ao's methods. However, as soon as something happened, Hua Chuangong received Mayan's distress signal. Therefore, Hua Chuangong immediately put down what he was doing and hurried over. However, Hua Chuangong's speed was clearly a bit slow. Thinking about the scene just now, Hua Chuangong still had some lingering fear. Chapter 1916. Dean, what level of cultivation do you think he has? After Samayan consumed 2 healing pellets, his injuries stabilized. I'm afraid he has already surpassed the Origin Realm. Although Hua Chuangong's expression was calm, from his slightly trembling voice, Semayan could tell that even the old dean could not remain calm when facing a peak expert like Tang Ao. At that moment, Hua Chuangong was not calm. He already knew that the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Realm was not the end of the path of martial arts. However, Hua Chuangong did not know what was above the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Realm because he did not have any proof. Hua Chuangong did not even dare to confirm if there was an even higher realm above the 9th level of the Origin Realm. However, after seeing Tang Ao today, Hua Chuangong confirmed that there was an even more profound realm above the Origin Realm. At the same time, Hua Chuangong also understood that although his current realm was not bad, he was still far away from the peak of the Flying Star Continent. That's right. Why are Xiao Yun and Yi Su together with that senior? Because Tang Ao's cultivation was extremely high. Hua Chuangong also called Tang Ao senior. After hearing the dean's question, Semayan simply told Hua Chuangong about what happened when Tang Ao came to ask for directions. However, Semayan clearly did not know much because they were separated later on. After hearing that, Hua Chuangong did not say much. The students of the Heavenly Star Academy were too arrogant, and he had already said that many times. This time, they suffered, so naturally, he did not need to emphasize it anymore. However, it was a pity that he did not have the chance to invite Tang Ao to the Heavenly Star Academy to teach. One had to know that according to the Heavenly Star Academy's investigation, the Flying Star Continent was only a drop in the ocean of the world. The original purpose of the Heavenly Star Academy's existence was to rush out of the Flying Star Continent and explore even more profound worlds. However, since the establishment of the Heavenly Star Academy, it was unknown how many experts it had nurtured. However, the strength of those experts was limited. There was not a single person above the Origin Realm. That was why Hua Chuangong wanted to invite Tang Ao to teach at the Heavenly Star Academy. Sima Yin naturally saw the disappointment in Hua Chuangong's eyes and immediately asked, "Senior brother, why are you so regretful?" Sima Yin and Hua Chuangong were martial brothers, and usually they would address each other as senior brother and junior brother. It's a pity that we completely lost track of Senior Tang Tian after he left. Otherwise, I would have invited Senior Tang Tian to our Sky Star Academy to teach the Tao. These people obviously didn't know about Tang Ao's true identity. Moreover, Tang Ao didn't have any intention of going to the Heavenly Star Academy to preach the Tao. Tang Ao wanted to quickly refine the 3 treasures blood lotus pill, and then leave this place with Chu Shuahan and the others. And this trip to the Evergreen Market was to obtain the map of the Earth Firestone ruins, and then obtain the Earth Fire Essence from the Earth Firestone ruins to upgrade the Netherworld Flame. Now, Tang Ao already had the second material to upgrade the Netherworld Flame, the Holy Yang Stone. However, the process of upgrading the Netherworld Flame was a little special. He had to use these advanced treasures in sequence. Therefore, even though Tang Ao had the Holy Yang Stone, Tang Ao could not use it to upgrade the Nether Flame. Chapter 1917. But now, in just an instant's time, Tang Ao brought them to the Evergreen Market. In reality, Tang Ao didn't push the Wind Thunder Dark Cloud to its limit because Yi Su and Xiao Yun simply couldn't handle the pressure of flying at that speed. Otherwise, Tang Ao would only need a few breaths to bring everyone here. After arriving, Tang Ao immediately saw a wanted poster from the Flying Star Alliance at the entrance of the market. The wanted person was Tang Ao. If Chu Shuahan wasn't still in the Liu family manor, Tang Ao really wanted to reveal his true appearance and teach the Liu family manor's martial artist a lesson. However, Tang Ao still had things to do in the Evergreen Market, so Tang Ao could only endure. If it was before, Xiao Yun and Yi Su would still be worried for Tang Ao when they saw the wanted poster from the Flying Star Alliance. Xiao Yun and Yi Su would still be worried for Tang Ao. However, at this moment, Xiao Yun and Yi Su were wondering why the Flying Star Alliance would be so stupid to dare come here. After arriving at the Evergreen Market, Tang Ao brought them to a place. This was because in this place, Tang Ao sensed a trace of the raging flame lion's aura. Tang Ao took a glance. This place was called the East Arrival Inn. Ling Weiwei and the others probably lived here before, so Tang Ao sensed the raging flame lion's aura here. When the waiter saw Tang Ao and the others, he enthusiastically greeted them. "Sir, our inn's beast meat has a special taste. Would you like to try it?" Hearing this, Tang Ao's first reaction was that the raging flame lion had been slaughtered by this inn. Soon after, Tang Ao realized that this inn probably didn't have that kind of ability. When entering this inn, Tang Ao used his soul remembrance to scan the place. In this inn, the strongest martial artist was only at the second level of the origin martial realm. I had a few friends who lived here before. Along with them were 2 raging flame lions. Where are my friends now? As soon as Tang Ao said this, the shop assistant's expression changed. He took a look at the notice on the side, and then at Tang Ao. He found that Tang Ao looked completely different from the person on the notice. Therefore, he was not sure if Tang Ao was the person the Flying Star Alliance was looking for. Even so, he still sent a message to the Flying Star Alliance decisively. After sending the message, the shop assistant said with a fake smile, "It's easy for you to find someone. When did your friend come? Let me check for you." This shop assistant's little trick naturally couldn't escape Tang Ao's eyes. However, Tang Ao knew that under the Mirage silk robe, even if Lu Chuanjia stood here, he would definitely not be able to recognize him as Tang Ao. In just a moment, the inn was surrounded by a group of heavily armored martial artists. Their leader was an old man with grizzled hair, and a young man with a pure scapula was chained to his side. After seeing this young man, Tang Ao's anger immediately exploded. Tang Ao recognized this young man with a pure scapula. It was the small iron pillar from Hundred Flower Villa. However, the current small iron pillar didn't have his original high-spirited appearance. His entire body was in a sorry state, and his body was full of wounds. Lifting his head and seeing that the person in front of him wasn't Tang Ao, the small iron pillar let out a sigh of relief and hung his head down. The old man next to the small iron pillar was someone Tang Ao had seen before. When Lu Chuanjia came to Everlasting Azure Market, there were 5 old men following behind him. This person was one of them. When Tang Ao saw this old man, Lu Renwu also saw Tang Ao. However, after scanning Tang Ao with his soul remembrance, Lu Renwu found that the person in front of him wasn't Tang Ao. However, since he was looking for the Raging Flame Lion, he was definitely related to Tang Ao. Immediately, Lu Renwu's face went cold as he said, "Break his 4 limbs, pierce his scapula, and bring him back for interrogation." Hearing Lu Renwu's words, Tang Ao suddenly laughed out loud. The commotion here naturally attracted many people to watch. However, when they saw Flying Star Alliance's Lu Renwu doing something, everyone subconsciously moved away. Not long ago, Flying Star Alliance's Lu Chuanjia broke through to the 9th level of Origin Martial Realm. After Lu Chuanjia broke through, he firmly controlled Everlasting Azure Market. Chapter 1918. Lu Renwu covered his swollen left cheek with his hand, and his expression was filled with horror. After reaching the 6th level of the Origin Martial Realm, Lu Renwu hadn't felt what it felt like to be hit for a long time. Even though the Flying Star Continent was in a frenzy of cultivation and geniuses were emerging in large numbers, with the cultivation of the 6th level of the Origin Realm, although they couldn't do as they wished in the bloody wasteland without fear, they would still rarely meet a worthy opponent. As far as Lu Renwu knew, there were only 2 people stronger than him in the entire Flying Star Continent. One was the patriarch of the Lu clan, Lu Chuanjia, and the other was the great elder of the Alchemy Guild, Hua Yuan. Apart from them, Lu Renwu couldn't think of anyone stronger than him. However, the white-clothed youth in front of him was clearly not Lu Chuanjia, nor was it Hua Yuan. But just now, he didn't even see how the white-clothed youth moved, and his teeth flew out. "Listen, let me ask you, where is Ling Weiwei?" Tang Ao felt very guilty. It was clear that Ling Weiwei and the others were implicated by him. When he ran away, Lu Chuanjia couldn't find him, so he could only capture Ling Weiwei and the others. But in reality, he didn't know Ling Weiwei and the others for long, and they didn't know where he went. Seeing little Tai Zhu's miserable appearance, Tang Ao's anger grew even more intense. In reality, Tang Ao was wrong this time. After Tang Ao ran away, Lu Chuanjia didn't stay in the evergreen market for too long. He only left Lu Renwu, the weakest of the 5 Lu clan elders, to monitor every movement in the evergreen market. In the end, Lu Renwu relied on his cultivation of the 6th level of the origin martial realm to do whatever he wanted in the evergreen market. After Lu Chuanjia left, Lu Renwu wanted to find Tang Ao's whereabouts and take credit for it. With the Flying Star Alliance's power in the evergreen market, Lu Renwu easily found out that Tang Ao came with the people from the 100 Flowers Villa. So, without any hesitation, Lu Renwu directly captured them in the evergreen market. At first, Shun Qianshi and Zhang Jujin could still suppress Lu Renwu and not let him do whatever he wanted in the evergreen market. Thus, Lu Renwu didn't dare to do anything to Ling Weiwei and the others. But a few days ago, news spread that Lu Chuanjia had other opportunities in the 5th area of the Bloody Wasteland and broke through to the 8th level of the Origin Realm in one go. Since then, Lu Renwu started to be unrestrained. After the initial shock, Lu Renwu immediately forgot how Tang Ao hit him. At this moment, Lu Renwu only wanted to break Tang Ao's bones to vent his anger. How dare you sneak attack me? Today, I'll let you know how the word death is written. Not only did Lu Renwu not answer Tang Ao's question, but his body's essence qi erupted and he struck a palm strike at Tang Ao. As for him being slapped by Tang Ao just now, he attributed it to Tang Ao's sneak attack, and not because Tang Ao was much stronger than him, so he couldn't react at all. The commotion in this place was not small. Many surrounding cultivators were attracted over. When everyone came over, they saw Lu Renwu furiously striking a white-clothed youth with a palm strike. Everyone secretly sighed in their hearts. After Lu Chuanjia reached the 8th level of the Origin Realm, the Lu family's cultivators became more and more lawless. This was not the first time Lu Renwu killed people in the Evergreen Market. However, facing Lu Renwu, who was the manager of the Evergreen Market, Shun Qianshi and Zhang Jujin could only close one eye. As for the others, how could they dare to provoke Lu Renwu? Chapter 1919. At the same time, Xiao Taizhu was a bit confused. He knew all of Ling Weiwei's friends. However, in Xiao Taizhu's impression, Ling Weiwei didn't seem to know this young man in white. The surrounding people also revealed sympathetic looks. In this period of time, as long as one came to the Evergreen Market and offended the Lu family, they would definitely not be able to bear the consequences. Under the wanton behavior of the Lu family warriors, a lot of people were even unwilling to come to the Evergreen Market. If it weren't for the 9-Colored Deer Merchant Guild's 100-year celebration tomorrow, the number of warriors in the Evergreen Market would have been reduced by at least 90%. A lot of people also noticed that after Lu Chuanjia broke through to the 8th level of the Origin Martial Realm, he seemed to have the idea of reuniting the Flying Star Continent. The reason why the Lu family warriors were so wanted was only to force some forces to make a move on the Lu family, so that the Lu family could find an excuse to get rid of them as well. Tang Ao was too lazy to care about the grudges between the Lu family and the forces of the Flying Star Continent. Ever since Tang Ao came to the Flying Star Continent, the Lu family had always been at odds with Tang Ao. Before, Tang Ao's cultivation was too low, so he couldn't do anything against the Lu family. Now that Tang Ao's cultivation had recovered to the 1st level of the Sea of Souls realm, it was time for the Lu family to suffer. Tang Ao had already decided that once he got the map of the Earth Firestone ruins, he would go and get Chu Xuhan out. As for the Lu family, he would also get rid of them. Right at this moment, Lu Renwu's sharp palm attack was also thrown toward Tang Ao. This palm attack was powerful and overbearing, as if it was going to shatter Tang Ao's bones. In reality, Lu Renwu was planning to do the same. However, what he didn't know was that his seemingly invulnerable palm attack was not only full of loopholes in front of Tang Ao, but it was also very weak. Not waiting for Lu Renwu's palm to hit him, Tang Ao slapped him again. Pa! A crisp sound was heard, and Lu Renwu was sent flying by Tang Ao. This scene astonished the spectators. They had thought of countless ways Tang Ao would end up in a miserable state under Lu Renwu's slap. However, they had never imagined that Tang Ao would be fine under Lu Renwu's slap. Instead, it was Lu Renwu who was sent flying back. This time, although everyone was focused on Tang Ao, they still couldn't see how Tang Ao made his move. Little bastard, I'm going to kill you. After being slapped twice by Tang Ao, Lu Renwu's anger soared to the sky. He directly took out a long sword and stabbed at Tang Ao. However, when the long sword stabbed halfway, the sword's momentum suddenly changed. It did not continue stabbing towards Tang Ao, and it stabbed towards Yi Su, who was at the side. Lu Renwu was not an idiot. After being slapped twice by Tang Ao, if he still didn't know that Tang Ao's cultivation was clearly stronger than his, he wouldn't need to cultivate. So, Lu Renwu decided to kidnap a person from Tang Ao's side to probe Tang Ao's direct descendant. For Tang Ao to be able to do this, it meant that Tang Ao was at least a 7th level Origin Realm martial artist. Since he was at the 7th level of the Origin Realm, it was impossible for him to be a nameless person. You're looking to die. What Tang Ao hated the most in his life was being threatened by others. Lu Renwu's intentions were self-evident. Originally, Tang Ao wanted to ask Lu Renwu a few questions. Lu Renwu's position in the Lu family was not low, so he should know where Chu Xiuhan was. However, since Lu Renwu was in a rush, he could not blame Tang Ao. Chapter 1920. No. Under Lu Renwu's horrified gaze, the azure lotus sword Qi pierced through his heart, bringing up a rain of blood behind him. Then, as if he had lost all his strength, Lu Renwu fell to the ground. Tang Ao's action shocked the surrounding warriors. Although it was rare to kill someone in the Evergreen Market, this was not the first time. The reason why everyone was shocked was because the one who died was Lu Renwu, one of the 5 elders of the Lu clan. Under the current situation, even if one wanted to touch a normal disciple of the Lu clan, they would have to think twice. But now, this mysterious young man in white had killed Lu Renwu without any hesitation. He is still too young. A warrior looked at Lu Renwu on the ground, then looked at Tang Ao and shook his head. What a joke. This person killed Lu Renwu with one attack. How could he be a normal person? He is obviously not afraid of the Lu clan's power. Be that as it may, killing Lu Renwu in Evergreen Market definitely won't end this matter peacefully. After Tang Ao killed Lu Renwu, the surrounding warriors were shocked and began to discuss. One had to know that Lu Renwu was a martial artist at the 6th level of the Origin Realm. In the current Flying Star continent, he was already a rare expert. But even so, Lu Renwu could not even take one attack from Tang Ao before he was killed. So, everyone hiddenly guessed Tang Ao's identity. After killing Lu Renwu, Tang Ao did not feel like he had done anything wrong. Tang Ao took a step forward, scaring the rest of the Lu family's experts into retreating in panic. However, Tang Ao didn't pay any attention to them. Instead, he bent down and took out a pill for the small iron pillar. Then, he removed the penetrating bone hook from the small iron pillar. Originally, Little Iron Pillar's injuries were extremely heavy, but after taking the pill given by Tang Ao, Little Iron Pillar's aura quickly stabilized. The moment he saw the Azure Lotus Sword Qi, Xiao Tai Zhu recognized Tang Ao. However, Tang Ao's aura was completely different from before. His appearance was also different, so Xiao Taizhu wasn't sure if the person in front of him was Tang Ao or not. Junior brother Taizhu, where is junior sister Ling Weiwei? After Tang Ao said this, little Taizhu knew that the person in front of him must be Tang Ao. He just didn't know what method Tang Ao used to change his aura and appearance. Tang! Little Taizhu shouted and quickly shut his mouth. Since Tang Ao did not show his true face, he must have his reasons. Little Iron Pillar also said, Senior Sister Ling Weiwei and Uncle Wu Mu are all imprisoned in the dungeon of the Liu family's temporary encampment. The Liu family's temporary encampment is not far from the Evergreen Market. Yes, take me there. Through the conversation with Xiao Tai Zhu, Tang Ao also learned that the warriors of the Liu family had built a temporary encampment not far from the Evergreen Market. Liu Renwu was the person in charge of this temporary encampment, while Liu Chuanjia and the others were not in the encampment. As for whether Liu Chuanjia was in the encampment or not, Tang Ao did not care. With Tang Ao's current cultivation, Liu Chuanjia was not a match for Tang Ao. In this special period, any movement in the Evergreen Market would attract attention. The news of a mysterious white-clothed youth killing Liu Renwu in one move in the Evergreen Market quickly spread to the leaders of the major forces. On the highest floor of the 100 Treasure Tower, the atmosphere was extremely serious. Chapter 1921. Apart from these people, even Zhang Zifan, who was usually unruly, was sitting there obediently at this moment. It could be said that, apart from the Liu clan, all the experts of the Flying Star Continent were here. Brother Hua Yuan, even you are no match for Liu Chuanjia now? The one who asked was Shun Qianshi. Shun Qianshi and Hua Yuan had a good relationship. This meeting was also initiated by Shun Qianshi. Hua Yuan bitterly laughed and pointed at his empty left arm. 3 days ago, I spied on the Liu clan stronghold and heard that the Liu clan was preparing to attack the other powers. If it wasn't for the fact that I lost my left arm in less than 3 rounds, I wouldn't have bothered Brother Qianshi to gather everyone here today. Less than 3 rounds. Liu Chuanjia is already this strong? Although the Duan clan's Duan Qingyang had always been a subordinate of the Liu clan, everyone knew that this old fox was also ambitious. Moreover, if the Liu clan insisted on unifying the Flying Star Continent, there was naturally no need for the Duan clan to exist. Therefore, at this time, Duan Qingyang came uninvited. Ha! After Duan Qingyang finished speaking, Hua Yuan laughed loudly. In the quiet hall, only Hua Yuan's somewhat lonely laughter could be heard. If it was Liu Chuanjia, then it's fine. The one who cut off my left arm was that brat Liu Xingjin. Although Hua Yuan still didn't understand how Liu Xingjin reached the 8th level of the Origin Martial Realm in such a short amount of time, his empty left arm told him that Liu Xingjin was indeed at the 8th level of the Origin Martial Realm. President, something happened. At this time, an attendant from the 9-Colored Deer Merchant Guild hurriedly walked in with a panicked expression. When the attendant said this, everyone in the hall was shocked. If something happened at this time, it was obvious that it had to do with the Liu clan's manner. Could it be that Liu Chuanjia couldn't sit still and was preparing to make a move now? What is it? Shen Qianxi's heart was also full of doubt. If something happened at this time, it would definitely be related to the Liu clan's manner. However, in Shen Qianxi's opinion, this was not the best time for the Liu clan to make a move. Moreover, the leaders of all the powers were gathered here. If something happened to one of the powers, these people should have received the news already. Liu Renwu. The waiter was interrupted by Zhang Jujin. Did that bastard Liu Renwu kill people in Evergreen Market again? Zhang Jujin really hated Liu Renwu to the core. This time, Zhang Jujin had put all his family's assets into the construction of the Evergreen Market. As a result, Liu Renwu had turned the Evergreen Market into a mess during this period of time. No, Liu Renwu was killed by a mysterious expert. Although he had been interrupted by Zhang Jujin, the martialist did not dare say anything else. After Zhang Jujin finished speaking, he hurriedly reported the information he had received. Liu Renwu was killed. This news instantly caused an uproar in the hall. One had to know that Liu Renwu was a martial artist of the 6th level of the Origin Realm. In the current Flying Star Continent, other than the people here and the Liu family's martial artists, who else had the ability to kill Liu Renwu? Is the information reliable? Although he knew that the 9-Colored Deer Merchant Guild's information was never wrong, Zhang Jujin couldn't help but ask. Chapter 1922. Oh, who did it? Hearing this, Shinshinshur's eyes lit up. Though the Flying Star Continent was ruled by the 8 Overlord forces, not all the experts were in the 8 Overlord forces. Even though the Dan Guild and the Golden Seeking Pavilion were not in the 8 Overlord forces, they also had many experts. As the president of the 9 Color Deer Merchant Guild, Shinshinshur naturally knew that other than that, there were many experts who were independent cultivators. These people were extremely low-key and rarely showed themselves, but their cultivation was not weak either. This martial artist who killed Lu Renwu was obviously a reclusive martial artist. It was a very young, white-clothed young man. He called himself Tang Tian and killed Lu Renwu with one strike. Then, he went to the Lu family's temporary residence outside of the Evergreen Market. The attendant was there at the time, so his description was very clear. He saw the entire conflict between Tang Ao and Lu Renwu. Is there a spirit image? Hearing that Tang Ao killed Lu Renwu with one strike, Shinshinshur's heart suddenly lit up with hope. Today, everyone gathered together, though they could combine the power of all the factions. In terms of top-notch cultivators, they still could not contend against the Lu family manor. Before, the Lu family manor had Lu Chuanjia, who was at the 8th level of the Origin Realm. Now, there was Lu Xingjin, who was at the 8th level of the Origin Realm. Even if everyone here attacked together, they would not be able to defeat the father and son. However, since someone could kill Lu Renwu with one strike, it meant that this person's cultivation was at least at the peak of the 7th level of the Origin Realm, or even the 8th level of the Origin Realm. Brother Qianshur, do you think it's someone from the Heavenly Star Academy? Though the Heavenly Star Academy was mysterious, it was not unknown to everyone here. However, the Heavenly Star Academy never interacted with these factions, so everyone did not know. As everyone was still guessing Tang Ao's identity, Tang Ao had already arrived outside of the Lu family's temporary residence with Little Iron Pillar. Tang Ao could immediately tell that there were a few shoddy defensive formations. Also inside the residence, there was an old ghost at the 6th level of the Origin Realm. This was something that Tang Ao had seen before. Although he wasn't young anymore, this old man clearly knew how to enjoy life. Even at this moment, he still had a woman in his arms and fine wine in his hands as he watched the dancers dance. As soon as Tang Ao and Little Tai Zhu approached the encampment, 2 Lu family martial artists stepped forward to stop Tang Ao. This is the temporary encampment of the Lu clan. Trespassers will die. Tang Ao did not bother talking nonsense with the 2 of them. He released his aura, and the 2 of them were sent flying by Tang Ao's powerful essence. Little Tai Zhu, who was beside Tang Ao, looked at Tang Ao with admiration. Before they left, Tang Ao's cultivation was not bad. But now, Tang Ao's cultivation had simply broken through the sky. In Tang Ao's hands, Lu Renwu, who was at the 6th level of the Origin Realm, could be killed with one strike. As for the 2 guards at the 4th level of the Origin Realm, Tang Ao did not even need to do anything. He only needed to release his horrifying aura, and he could heavily injure the 2 of them in an instant. This was a true expert. Little Tai Zhu looked at Tang Ao's back, and his gaze was filled with longing. Chapter 1923. After entering the Lu family's temporary encampment, Tang Ao's soul remembrance began to search wantonly. Very quickly, Tang Ao found an underground prison. At this moment, Ling Weiwei, Wu Shu, and the others were all imprisoned in this prison. As for the 2 raging flame lions, they were currently imprisoned in 2 iron cages in the prison. After discovering the dungeon, Tang Ao walked straight towards the direction of the dungeon. At this moment, a youth wearing embroidered clothes and carrying a padao brought a group of people over from the side. "You bunch of trash! You dare to watch someone do whatever he wants in our Lu family's encampment. Hurry up and chop him up." After this youth gave the order, though the surrounding people were afraid of Tang Ao, they still clenched their teeth and charged over. However, before these people could even get close to Tang Ao's powerful aura was instantly released. An incomparably powerful energy wave swept through the air. These martial artists charging towards Tang Ao were instantly sent flying back, as if they had been hit by a heavy blow. At this moment, the embroidered clothed youth's padao chopped towards Tang Ao's back. Though Tang Ao's strength was far beyond his imagination, seeing that his sneak attack was about to succeed, the embroidered clothed youth's eyes were full of excitement. Pooh! The embroidered clothed youth's padao solidly chopped Tang Ao in two. However, what confused him was that he didn't seem to hit anything, and no blood flew out. "Young Master Diao, be careful." At this moment, the embroidered clothed youth heard a shout behind him. However, before he could turn around to look, a cyan-colored sword aura had already pierced through his head. In this final moment, the embroidered clothed youth's heart was filled with boundless regret. After Lu Chuanjia and Lu Xingjin broke through to the 8th level of the Origin Martial Realm, the Lu family's time to rule the Flying Star Continent was about to arrive. However, Lu Jiao didn't expect that due to his momentary impulse, he would never see that moment arrive. However, what Lu Jiao didn't know was that not only did the Lu family's great era not arrive, it was about to end. Diao! Lu Rinci came out and saw Tang Ao casually use a sword aura to pierce Lu Jiao's head. Because of his cultivation, Lu Rinci had a son at an old age. Thus, Lu Rinci doted on his only son very much. No matter where Lu Rinci went, he would bring his only son with him. What Lu Rinci didn't expect was that he would actually be cut off in the Lu family's territory today. "I'll chop you into pieces." Like Lu Condor, Lu Rinci also used a padao. The only difference was that this guy actually held a padao in each hand. One had to know that the padao was originally a two-handed weapon, so Lu Rinci's use of it could be said to be superb. However, in the face of absolute strength, no matter how powerful Lu Rinci's saber was, it was useless. Lu Rinci's body erupted with origin energy. At the same time, he suddenly threw the long saber in his hand at Tang Ao. Then, he held the other padao with both hands and slashed at Tang Ao. Facing the flying padao, Tang Ao directly extended his palm and casually slapped it. Immediately, the padao that Lu Rinci had used for over 60 years was smashed into pieces by Tang Ao's palm. After Lu Rinci's padao was smashed, Lu Rinci also tightly held the other padao with both hands and slashed at Tang Ao with a force that could split a mountain. Chapter 1924. What kind of existence was that? Fourth Master Lu, who could do whatever he wanted in the Flying Star Continent, was crushed to death by someone's hand. At that moment, everyone from the Lu family only had one thought. The Lu family was finished. After provoking such an existence, even the family master might not be able to defeat him. At that moment, the Lu family's encampment was in chaos. Many people were stealing things, and many people were running away in panic. Tang Ao did not kill all the small fries from the Lu family. Very quickly, Tang Ao arrived at the prison. Ling Weiwei heard noises and raised her head to take a look. Seeing that the person who entered was a white-clothed young man that she had never seen before, her eyes couldn't help but reveal a confused expression. "Junior Ling, long time no see." Tang Ao's body transformed and returned to his original appearance. After Ling Weiwei saw that it was Tang Ao, her eyes were full of joy. But soon after, she seemed to have thought of something and her face changed. She quickly said to Tang Ao, "Big brother Tang Ao, quickly leave. There are two powerful Lu family experts here. They are both at the 6th level of the Origin Realm." Before Ling Weiwei finished, she was interrupted by Lil Taiju, who followed behind Tang Ao. "Sister Weiwei, don't worry. Those two old turtles have already been killed by Big Brother Tang Ao. With Big Brother Tang Ao's current strength, even if that old man Lu Chuanjia came, he would only be sending himself to death." Right now, Lil Taiju really admired Tang Ao from the bottom of his heart. The move that Tang Ao used to kill Lu Rinci was really too handsome. In reality, what Lil Taiju did not know was that although Tang Ao seemed to be playing it down, Using the Origin Chi Giant Hand to crush Lu Renzi was much more difficult than using the Azure Lotus Sword Chi. However, in order to create a shocking effect, Tang Ao casually tried it. He waved his sleeves, and several rays of light flew out, cutting the iron chains that bound Ling Weiwei and the others. Then, Tang Ao took out some pellets and gave them to eat. After taking Tang Ao's pills, Ling Weiwei and the others' complexions quickly improved. At this time, Tang Ao also heard the two flaming lions locked up in another room. Due to the soul brand, these two fellows could also sense that Tang Ao was nearby. Looking at these two guys, Tang Ao couldn't help but sigh. After Little Tai Zhu and the others were captured, they were tortured to the point of no return. However, these two guys were very well fed. Obviously, the Liu family's warriors also wanted to raise these two blazing lions. However, they did not know that Tang Ao had already planted a soul brand on these two blazing lions. At the same time, Tang Ao also saw the other warriors locked up in the dungeon. Immediately, Tang Ao casually threw out a ray of sword chi. The sharp sword light cut the iron door of the dungeon in half. At the same time, these people all knelt down and said, "Thank you, Senior, for saving us." Tang Ao casually waved out 2 rays of sword chi to break the iron cage of the blazing lions and said, The Liu family's warriors have already escaped. You can take whatever you want from the Liu family's camp." These people naturally understood that Tang Ao was speaking the truth, although they did not understand what had happened. If the Liu family's warriors had not left, Tang Ao would not have been able to come here so easily. What's the matter? At this time, Tang Ao saw a warrior with disheveled hair come in front of him. Towards this young man with disheveled hair, Tang Ao felt that he was a bit familiar, but Tang Ao could not remember where he had seen him before. Chapter 1925. After the chaos ended, since Tang Ao was able to arrive here so casually and without a trace on his body, it meant that Tang Ao was clearly a peak expert. Li Wangshu had the cultivation of the 5th level of the Origin Realm, but under Li Wangshu's perception, Tang Ao's cultivation was like a mist. He could not see through it at all. That meant that Tang Ao's cultivation was at least above the 9th level of the Origin Realm. Because before, when he was captured by Lu Xingjin's cultivation was at the 8th level of the Origin Realm. I don't like people discussing conditions with me. Tang Ao was not interested in the enormous secret that Li Wangshu spoke of. After releasing the 2 Inferno Lions, Tang Ao waved his sleeve, and the 2 Inferno Lions were put into the chaotic hexlight mirror. Tang Ao's move stunned Li Wangshu once again. Storage rings could store items, but they could not store living things. However, Li Wangshu was certain that the presence of the 2 Inferno Lions had disappeared into thin air. At that time, Li Wangshu no longer hesitated. Tang Ao saw Li Wangshu's right hand form a sword with his fingers and swipe across his left wrist. Shortly after, Tang Ao saw that within Li Wangshu's flesh, there was a storage ring hidden. Seeing that scene, Tang Ao was interested. Something that could be hidden like that would definitely not be ordinary. Seeing Li Wangshu's sword energy, Tang Ao also remembered who the guy with disheveled hair was. Back then, when Tang Ao was hunting for soul crystals, it was this guy and his subordinates who caused trouble. Although they didn't cause any losses to Tang Ao still remembered him. However, Tang Ao didn't expect that guy to be in such dire straits. At that time, Li Wangshu also took out a badge from his storage ring. Upon seeing this token, Tang Ao was shocked. Fallen Star Token. Tang Ao didn't expect this guy to have a meteorite command. Now, Tang Ao already knew that this meteorite command was a treasure that surpassed the primordial sacred sky, Bao, and Shinnon Cauldron. Although he didn't know its use, this meteorite command was really tempting to Tang Ao. But Tang Ao didn't know why Li Wangshu had taken out the Fallen Star token. Seeing that Tang Ao also knew of the Falling Star command, Li Wangshu's expression brightened. "Senior, There are a total of 8 fallen star tokens. The ancestors of the 8 overlord forces of the flying star continent each obtained one. This meteorite token originally belonged to the multiple chain dock. Tang Ao nodded. He knew about this. Then, Tang Ao asked, "Is this meteorite token related to the secret you mentioned?" Until now, Tang Ao still didn't know what use the meteorite command had. However, Tang Ao was sure that this meteorite command was really a rare treasure. Li Wangshu handed over the meteorite command in his hand to Tang Ao, then continued. In the Flying Star Cliff where the Liu family's manor is located, it is also the place where the meteorite command was found. Then, in the belly of the Flying Star Cliff, there is a huge array. It is said that this array only opens once every 1,800 years, and opening this array can connect the Flying Star continent and other worlds. When Li Wangshu said this, Tang Ao was delighted. Originally, if Tang Ao wanted to leave the Flying Star continent, he would have to wait for Bloodscar to recover to the astral-reaching realm or use the space-breaking spell. However, both of these methods had huge drawbacks. Using the space-breaking spell, the destination could not be determined, and waiting for Bloodscar to recover to the astral-reaching realm would take a long time. Chapter 1926. How do you know about this? Tang Ao took the Fallen Star Command token from Li Wangshu and at the same time asked the question in his heart. Right now, there's a guy called Shi Yun in the stronghold of the Liu family's manor. He doesn't have any fluctuation of origin energy, but he is very strange. The reason why Liu Xingjin was able to cultivate to the 8th level of the origin martial realm in such a short period of time is all thanks to him. These words were said by him. Moreover, it seems that only he can activate the formation of the Flying Star Cliff. The reason why the Liu father and son decided to attack the other powers and unify the Flying Star continent is because they want to unify the Flying Star continent and gather all the Fallen Star command tokens. Then, the Liu family can send cultivators to explore other worlds. After hearing Shi Yun's name, Tang Ao already believed it. Tang Ao first learned about the Fallen Star command token from Shi Yun. However, Tang Ao didn't expect that Shi Yun, a Grand Peak Chaotic Heaven stage expert, would lower his status and join hands with the Liu family's cultivators. However, Tang Ao quickly understood. Although Shi Yun and Xuejio were both Chaotic Heaven stage experts, Shi Yun and Xuejio were completely different. Xuejio cultivated a blood cultivation method, which could also be cultivated here. However, Shi Yun clearly cultivated immortal spiritual power. There was no spiritual power here, let alone immortal spiritual power. Moreover, the appearance of the Bloody Wasteland also disrupted Shi Yun's chances. With the appearance of cultivators like Liu Chuanjia, it became very difficult for Shi Yun to collect the Fallen Star command tokens. Therefore, Shi Yun directly told the secret of the Fallen Star command token. However, Tang Ao wasn't sure whether Shi Yun only knew that much about the Fallen Star command token. While Tang Ao was pondering, Li Wangshu said again, "According to Shi Yun, there are still 36 days before the grand formation opens. Junior hopes that if Senior is able to go to other worlds, please take Junior with you." This time, Li Wangshu also understood Tang Ao's nature. Raising conditions with Tang Ao was clearly out of the question. However, if he lowered his stance, Tang Ao wouldn't be that difficult to talk to. No problem. If the formation you mentioned can really connect to other worlds, I'll take you with me when I leave the Flying Star continent. However, I can only promise to bring you along. As for your life and death, that will depend on your own luck. This Junior understands. Li Wangshu was overjoyed when he heard Tang Ao agree. The reason why he didn't hand over the Fallen Star token to the Liu clan was because he didn't want the Liu clan to have complete control over the passageway. This was because if the passageways to other worlds were controlled by the Liu clan would definitely not allow other martial artists to go to other worlds to search for opportunities. Obtaining a meteorite token so easily, Tang Ao was also in a good mood. At the same time, Tang Ao was also very grateful for the information provided by Li Wangshu. Now that he knew that the ancient formation of the Flying Star Cliff could connect to other worlds, and that the Fallen Star token was the key to open the formation, Tang Ao decided to take the initiative and gain the upper hand. He wanted to obtain the remaining 4 Fallen Star tokens first. The reason why there were 4 was because both Shi Yun and Lu Chuanjia had Fallen Star tokens. However, Lu Chuanjia's Fallen Star token must have fallen into Shi Yun's hands. As for Shi Yun's whereabouts, Tang Ao really couldn't find him. Do you know who has the Fallen Star tokens? Regarding this question, Tang Ao didn't have much hope and just casually asked. Not long ago, I saw with my own eyes 2 Fallen Star tokens in Shi Yun's hands. Shi Yun and Lu Chuanjia were together. These 2 Fallen Star tokens shouldn't be easy for Senior to obtain. Moreover, I've already handed over the Fallen Star token in my hands to Senior. Other than these 3 Fallen Star tokens, the remaining 5 should be in the hands of the Shangwan clan, Bloody Kill Tower, Dragon Prison Castle, Pure One School, and Cloud One Palace. Tang Ao agreed with Li Wangshu's analysis. Other than the fact that the Shangwan clan's Fallen Star token was in Tang Ao's hands, there were no problems with the other analysis. If there were no accidents, it was very possible that it was as Li Wangshu said. At that time, Li Wangshu spoke again. Senior, if you want to take the Fallen Star token now, there's a good opportunity. However, I don't know if Senior's cultivation can fight against the 7th level of the Origin Martial Realm and many 6th level Origin Martial Realm martial artists. Chapter 1927. Senior, I received news that when the Liu family attacked the other forces, these forces were also burning with anxiety. At this moment, including the Dan Guild, Golden Seeking Pavilion, and the sect masters of some top forces, they are all gathered in the 100 Treasures Tower of the 9 Colored Deer Merchant Guild to discuss. Li Wangshu said very seriously. Because this news was extremely secretive, Li Wangshu was also worried that Tang Ao wouldn't believe him. Tang Ao's eyes lit up when he heard this, and then he asked, "How many forces with Falling Star tokens are in this gathering?" Tang Ao didn't doubt that Li Wangshu wouldn't lie to him. Because with such a huge gap in strength, if Li Wangshu lied, Tang Ao would be able to sense the abnormal fluctuations in his soul. And now, Li Wangshu clearly wasn't lying. Moreover, the Evergreen Market wasn't far from here. If the sect masters of the other 7 overlord forces gathered here to discuss, Tang Ao would be able to meet all of them when he went. Thinking that he would soon be able to leave the Flying Star continent, Tang Ao simply revealed his original appearance. With a wave of yuan qi from Tang Ao's body, Tang Ao changed back to his original appearance. Tang Ao, Senior, Li Wangshu exclaimed when he saw that the person in front of him was Tang Ao. Li Wangshu never would have thought that Tang Ao, who had been besieged and forced to flee in a sorry state, had grown to such a level. As expected, the river flows east for 30 years, then west for 30 years. Do not bully the young for being poor. Lead the way. Tang Ao ignored Li Wangshu's surprise and let Li Wangshu lead the way. Li Wangshu sighed in his heart and didn't think too much. He began to lead the way for Tang Ao to the 100 Treasures Tower. At this moment, in the 100 Treasures Tower, the overlords of the major forces in the past all showed happy expressions. Not long ago, they received news that Lu Renwu had been killed by an expert in Evergreen Market. Just a moment ago, they received news that the senior who killed Lu Renwu clearly had a good relationship with the cultivators of the 100 Flowers Manor. So after he killed Lu Renwu, he immediately headed to the Lu clan's temporary encampment outside Evergreen Market. In the Lu clan's temporary encampment, this person also instantly killed Lu Renzi of the Lu clan. These events were enough to explain 2 things. Firstly, this senior was not afraid of the cultivators in the Lu family manor at all, which was why he had killed 2 of the 5 Lu family elders in succession. Not to mention killing 2 of the Lu clan's 5 elders. Even killing one would cause the Lu clan to be irreconcilable enemies. This martial artist called Tang Tian had killed 2 of them consecutively. It was obvious that he was demonstrating his power to the Lu clan. Another problem was that Lu Renwu and Lu Rensi, who were at the 6th level of the Origin Realm, couldn't even take one attack from Tang Tian. That meant that Tang Tian was at the peak of the 7th level of the Origin Realm, or even the 8th level of the Origin Realm. At this moment, the father and son of the Lu family wanted to wipe out all the other forces and unite the Flying Star Continent. The other major forces were all huddled together for warmth. Naturally, the appearance of such a powerful martial artist at this time was what they wanted to see the most. Where is that senior now? Let's hurry up and get to know each other. Shun Qianshi said decisively without hesitation. President, that senior should still be in the Lu family's temporary encampment. Although the 9-colored Deer Trade Union's intelligence network was impressive, it couldn't transmit information in real time. Chapter 1928. I wouldn't dare to trouble you all. This Tang is already here, Tang Ao said as he walked into the meeting hall. After seeing Tang Ao, everyone's expression was different. Everyone here knew Tang Ao, but up until now, no one had connected Tang Ao with that mysterious expert. You, Tang Ao, how dare you trespass into the meeting hall? Before anyone else could speak, Duan Qingyang immediately reprimanded him. As Duan Qingyang was reprimanding him, drunken gold manners He Yuchen also immediately stood up and moved, cutting off Tang Ao's path of retreat. If it weren't for the current problems of the Lu family, He Yuchen would still be searching for Tang Ao all over the world. This was because when the drunken gold manners martial artist had discovered the puppet world's array disc, they had also obtained a dark silver puppet. Now, He Yuchen knew that this dark silver puppet was definitely an incredible treasure. It had always been He Yuchen who took other people's things. When had it ever been someone else's turn to take his things? Now, that Tang Ao had come to him on his own accord. How could He Yuchen let go of Tang Ao? Unlike the others, when she saw Tang Ao, Fairy Yunwan's face immediately lit up. After not seeing him for a long time, this little girl had grown even more beautiful. Fairy Yunwan stood up and bowed to Tang Ao. Yunwan greets Pill Master Tang Ao. Yunwan wasn't sure if Tang Ao still remembered her agreement with Tang Ao, or if Tang Ao had the ability to refine the spirit pill. When Tang Ao had been intercepted by Duan Qingyang, it was Yunwan and the Cloud Wan Palace martial artists who had helped Tang Ao escape. Tang Ao naturally wouldn't forget this kindness. Since Fairy Yunwan was so courteous, Tang Ao naturally cupped his fists. I haven't seen you for a long time, but you are still as elegant as ever. When Tang Ao said this, he looked Yunwan up and down without the slightest trace of politeness. In this half a year, Fairy Yunwan had grown up a little. Although she was still a little immature, she was already very enchanting. The current Yunwan was not inferior to Chu Xiuhan and Luo Yinshang. However, Yunwan's cultivation was at the peak of the 6th level of the Origin martial realm. If someone looked at her like this in the past, Yunwan would definitely be angry. But now, Yunwan didn't know why, but being stared at by Tang Ao, she felt a bit shy and a bit angry, but she didn't get angry. Tang Ao's glance also made Yunwan's little face blush. After Yunwan, Zhang Zifan also immediately stood up. Alchemist Tang Ao, long time no see. It's a pleasure to meet you today. Zhang Zifan had long wanted to get to know Tang Ao, but due to a strange combination of factors, the two never had the chance to get to know each other. Even so, Tang Ao knew that Zhang Zifan had lined up He Jin to help him. Therefore, Tang Ao cupped his fists and returned the greeting. Brother Zifan, you're too polite. Let's have a few drinks later. Towards Zhang Zifan, Tang Ao had a pretty good impression. Such an interesting person, Tang Ao was naturally willing to get to know him. Compared to Yunwan and Zhang Zifan, the others maintained a wait-and-see attitude. Shun Luoli wanted to greet Tang Ao, but under Shun Qianshi's gaze, she sat back down. Moreover, Shun Luoli really didn't understand why Tang Ao would come to this kind of place. One had to know that at this moment, Duan Qingyang from the Duan clan and He Yuchen from the Intoxicated Gold Pavilion obviously wouldn't let Tang Ao off. Chapter 1929. Hua Yuan originally thought that Tang Ao had fallen, but now it seemed that not only was Tang Ao not dead, but he was also living a carefree life. Although there were many alchemists in the Flying Star Continent, there were not many top-level alchemists. Alchemists at the level of Tang Ao were even rarer. Hua Yuan established the Alchemy Guild for the prosperity of the Flying Star Continent's alchemy industry. A genius alchemist like Tang Ao, Hua Yuan naturally had to pay attention to him. But now that the Flying Star Continent was in chaos, Hua Yuan did not have the energy to look for Tang Ao. Thank you for your trouble, Senior. Tang Ao had also heard about Hua Yuan looking for him in the Scarlet Wasteland. Tang Ao was also very grateful to Hua Yuan. When Tang Ao was being hunted down in the Scarlet Wasteland, Hua Yuan expressed that he wanted to protect Tang Ao, which also reduced the pressure on Tang Ao to a certain extent. He Yuchen saw that after Tang Ao came in, he actually only greeted his acquaintances and did not pay attention to him at all. He immediately became angry. Brother Duan, this boy is extremely arrogant. How about you? And I joined forces to take him down. If it was just a deal with Tang Ao, He Yuchen naturally did not need to join forces with Duan Qingyang. The reason why he said he wanted to join forces with Duan Qingyang was because He Yuchen was worried that other people would help Tang Ao. But what He Yuchen did not expect was that before Yun Luan and the others could speak, Shangwan Yi, the master of the Shangwan family, and Lu Hailong, the master of the multiple chain dock, stood up. We also have some grievances with Alchemist Tang Ao, so we would like to ask Alchemist Tang Ao to stay. After we finish our discussion, we will settle things with Alchemist Tang Ao. Pa! Seeing this scene, Hua Yuan smashed the table in front of him with a palm. I want to see who dares to touch Tang Ao today. Although Yun Luan and Zhang Zifan did not speak, they had already walked behind Tang Ao. Their intentions were self-evident. Zhang Jujin didn't expect that his son would still support Tang Ao in such a situation. However, Zhang Jujin didn't blame Zhang Zifan because Zhang Zifan's judgment had never disappointed him for a long time. Looking at the tense situation, Shun Qianshi only felt a slight headache. Now that the threat of the Lu family had yet to be resolved, these people were already fighting amongst themselves. Shun Qianshi even suspected that Lu Chuanjiao wasn't afraid of them joining hands because he knew that their grudges were too deep. Seeing Yu Chen's group of four surrounding him, Tang Ao smiled indifferently. Immediately after, he took out 2 meteorite tokens and said, "This Tang came here today for no other reason than to take the meteorite tokens in your hands. Therefore, if you have a fallen star token, please hand it over to this Tang." Of course, everyone present recognized the meteorite tokens. In fact, apart from the 2 meteorite tokens in Tang Ao's hands, there were 4 other meteorite tokens in the hall. However, the meteorite tokens were the tokens of the 8 overlord forces of the Flying Star Continent. Apart from that, they had no other use. Therefore, no one knew what Tang Ao wanted the meteorite tokens for. Arrogant to the extreme. Today, I want to see if you have the qualifications to take the meteorite tokens. As Yu Chen spoke, his figure moved and the folding fan in his hand slashed at Tang Ao. It was clearly a folding fan, but when it was slashed in He Yu Chen's hand, it was like a sharp steel knife. Chapter 1930. At the same time, Tang Ao moved his body to the side and dodged Duan Qingyang's sneak attack from behind. At the same time, he flicked his 2 fingers, and Duan Qingyang's black dragon sword was shattered into pieces by Tang Ao. Tang Ao grabbed a piece of the broken sword and threw it into his hand. With a pu sound, the broken sword pierced through Duan Qingyang's heart, and Duan Qingyang's body also softly fell onto the ground. This sudden scene stunned everyone. He Yu Chen and Duan Qingyang were both at the peak of the 6th level of the Origin Martial Realm, but the 2 of them were like bubbles in front of Tang Ao. They couldn't even last 1 round and were killed by Tang Ao. Even now, the matter was not over. The Origin energy on Tang Ao's body shook, and immediately, a vast and terrifying Origin energy enveloped the entire conference hall. Everyone felt their chests tighten and they couldn't breathe. Shangguan, Yi, and Lu Rulong, who were the first to bear the brunt of the attack, were suppressed by Tang Ao's tyrannical spirit pressure until their waists bent down. The two of them were certain that if Tang Ao didn't stop, he would definitely be able to press the two of them onto the ground. At that moment, how could everyone not understand that the person who killed the two Lu family martial artists was the Tang Ao in front of them? When they heard that Tang Ao killed two experts from the Lu family, they didn't really care. But now, when they saw Tang Ao kill Duan Xingyang and He Yuchen in front of them, they finally understood how terrifying Tang Ao's current strength was. "Senior, spare us." Shangguan, Yi, and Lu Rulong were yelling before, but when they saw Tang Ao kill He Yuchen and Duan Xingyang, they knew that if Tang Ao was unhappy, he would kill the two of them, and they would die for nothing. Hua Yuan fought against Lu Xingjin, who was at the 8th level of the Origin Realm. So, Hua Yuan knew that Tang Ao's current cultivation was absolutely not only at the 8th level of the Origin Realm. It wasn't even at the 9th level of the Origin Realm. It surpassed the boundary of the Origin Realm. Because of the 9 dragons' Emperor Jade body, although Tang Ao was only at the 1st level of the Sea of Souls realm, the density of Yuan Qi in Tang Ao's body was even stronger than a 3rd level Sea of Souls realm martial artist. Moreover, Tang Ao's battle prowess was comparable to the martial artists of the 5th floor of Linghai Jing. Tang Ao had not come here today to kill anyone. The reason why he had killed Duan Xingyang and He Yuchen was because Tang Ao had a deep grudge with the two of them. As for the others, although there were some conflicts of interest, Tang Ao wouldn't go so far as to kill them all. After Tang Ao took back his powerful aura, that suffocating feeling also disappeared. Yin Wan also took out the Cloud Wan Palace's Fallen Star badge from his storage ring. "Senior Tang Ao, this is our Cloud Wan Palace's Fallen Star badge." Although Tang Ao's cultivation was terrifyingly powerful, Yin Wan still felt that it was not appropriate to call Tang Ao Senior. So he just called him Senior Tang Ao. Tang Ao took the Fallen Star badge from Yin Wan's hand, then said, "Junior sister Yin Wan, give me the ingredients for the spirit pellet. I will give you the pellet in 3 days." After saying that, Tang Ao looked at the others. "You guys don't have the Fallen Star badge?" Although everyone did not know what Tang Ao wanted the Fallen Star badge for, they still took it out. Chapter 1931. President Qianshi. There will be a map of the Earth Firestone ruins at the 9-Colored Deer Merchant Guild's 100-year celebration tomorrow. I don't know who put it up for auction, but this map is very important to me. Please tell me. After getting the 6 meteorite badges so easily, Tang Ao was in a good mood. After everything was settled, Tang Ao prepared to tell them about the Flying Star Cliffs formation. When Shun Qianshi heard Tang Ao mention his name, he thought that Tang Ao was going to rip off the 9-Colored Deer Merchant Guild. Hearing that Tang Ao only wanted a map of the Earth Firestone ruins, Shun Qianshi immediately said, "This map belongs to our 9-Colored Deer Merchant Guild. I will give it to Sir Tang Ao as a gift." After Shun Qianshi gave the order, the 9-Colored Deer Merchant Guild's warrior quickly brought over a booklet. Tang Ao took the booklet and opened it. This Earth Firestone ruins was actually in the 5th region of the Blood Wasteland. Seeing this, Tang Ao was overjoyed. Since this Earth Firestone ruins was in the 5th region of the Blood Wasteland, then very few people would come here. Therefore, the essence of Earth Fire was most likely still under these Earth Firestones. After putting away the map of the Earth Firestone relic, Tang Ao took out a jade bottle from his storage ring. He then took out 5 pills from the jade bottle and gave them to Shun Qianshi and the others. This pill is called the Spirit Ocean Pill. In reality, the realm above the Origin Martial Realm is the Spirit Sea Realm. Right now, my cultivation is at the Spirit Sea Realm. When you reach the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Martial Realm, take this Spirit Ocean Pill and you will be able to reach the Spirit Sea Realm. Tang Ao's words immediately set off a storm in everyone's hearts. Tang Ao had indeed reached the Origin Martial Realm. What was even more shocking was that Tang Ao actually had this kind of pill for breaking through to the spirit sea realm. Shen Qianshi had been doing business his entire life, but he had never felt like he had earned so much. He had only used a mere roadmap in exchange for such a precious pill. Worth it. This is absolutely worth it. However, Tang Ao's words pulled everyone's thoughts back. In fact, even if you reach the spiritual ocean tier, it is only a stage of cultivation. Above the sea of soul's realm were the life and death realm and the astral reaching realm. However, due to the lack of spiritual energy on the Flying Star Continent, your cultivation on the Flying Star Continent is extremely slow. Even if origin crystals appear, the amount of origin crystals required to reach the spiritual ocean realm is still extremely horrifying. When Tang Ao charged to the spiritual ocean realm back then, he'd expended an entire 1 million essence crystals. Tang Ao estimated that if a normal person wanted to reach the Sea of Soul's realm, they would need at least 100,000 crystals. It should be noted that the people sitting here were the top forces of the entire Phaetian continent. However, there were less than 5 of them who had more than 100,000 crystals in their storage. Chapter 1932. After that, Tang Ao added, although the outside world is more suitable for cultivation compared to the Flying Star Continent, the outside world is also more dangerous. I am currently at the first level of the Sea of Soul's realm. I am almost invincible on the Flying Star Continent, but in the continents with spiritual energy, the first level of the Sea of Soul's realm is nothing. After Tang Ao finished speaking, the entire hall was so quiet that one could hear the other person's breathing. Not because of anything else, but the news that Tang Ao said was too shocking. At this moment, everyone was shocked and excited. It turned out that they had been looking at the sky from the bottom of a well for a long time. When they thought about how a mere first level of the origin martial realm could be considered an expert on the Flying Star Continent, they found it even more hilarious. However, Shen Qianshi quickly reacted. There are a total of 8 fallen star tokens, and we don't know where the other 2 are. Without the 8 fallen star tokens, can we open this ancient array? Shen Qianshi's words undoubtedly poured a bucket of cold water over everyone's heads. Without any clues, it would be impossible to find 2 fallen star tokens in the entire continent. You don't have to worry about that. Just wait for the array to open in a month. Also, I have a few friends in the East Arrival Inn. I hope President Qianshi can take care of them. Before coming here, Luo Yunshang, Ling Weiwei, and the rest were arranged to stay at the Thousand Stone Inn by Tang Ao. Now that he had the map of the Earth Firestone ruins, Tang Ao naturally prepared to go there to get the essence flame. It was impossible to refine a first-grade immortal pill without a good flame. Now that Tang Ao had the Holy Yang Stone, he only needed to get the essence flame to upgrade the nether flame by 2 levels and become a 9th-grade spiritual fire. A 9th-grade spiritual fire was a powerful flame second only to the immortal fire. Even in his previous life, Tang Ao had never used such a powerful flame. After answering a few questions from Shen Qianshi and the rest, Tang Ao left the Evergreen Market and headed for the 5th zone of the Earth Firestone ruins. The Scarlet Wasteland was surprisingly large. Even though Tang Ao used the Wind Thunder Nether Cloud to travel, it still took him 2 hours to arrive at the location on the map. This was a very special place. In the Scarlet Wasteland, such a scene could be said to be very rare. At this moment, what appeared in front of Tang Ao was a chain of volcanoes. Among these volcanoes, there were many lava caves with surging lava. On the mountain wall, there were some scarlet stones. These stones were the size of a baby's fist. They were the so-called Earth Firestones. However, the Earth Firestone wasn't of much use to Tang Ao. Tang Ao had come here to search for the Earth Fire Essence. It was quite difficult for normal Origin Realm martial artists to explore such a dangerous place, not to mention digging for Earth Firestones or even searching for Earth Fire Marrow Flames. Tang Ao's soul remembrance scanned the surroundings. Tang Ao discovered that the Earth Firestones near the edges had been excavated, but the ones deeper in were undamaged. Clearly, the martial artist who discovered the Earth Firestone ruins didn't have the ability to explore this place. Tang Ao moved his Yuan Qi and flew into a lava cave. Chapter 1933. Under the detection of Tang Ao's soul remembrance, nothing in a lava cave could hide from him. However, even so, Tang Ao still didn't find any Earth Fire Essence flames. Logically, a place with an Earth Fire Stone would definitely have an Earth Fire Essence flame. As for the Earth Fire Essence flame in this place being taken away by another cultivator, that was simply impossible. He was probably the only person in the entire Flying Star continent who could do this. Even Shuejiao, who was at the 8th level of the Origin Martial Realm, wouldn't be able to walk away unscathed. However, what made Tang Ao depressed was that after searching for a long time, he still couldn't find the existence of the Earth Fire Essence flames. At this moment, Tang Ao didn't hesitate and instantly opened his heavenly polar pupils. Under the observation of the heavenly polar pupils, everything around him became incomparably clear. However, even so, Tang Ao still couldn't find it. At this moment, Tang Ao saw a fingernail-sized transparent crimson crystal not far away. Tang Ao instantly recognized that this was the Earth Fire Essence flame. However, this Earth Fire Essence flame was clearly a fragment. After sensing the Earth Fire Essence flame, the Netherworld flame immediately excitedly engulfed the Earth Fire Essence flame. However, this small amount of Earth Fire Essence flame clearly wasn't enough for the Netherworld flame to level up. Tang Ao was a bit depressed. That Earth Fire Essence flame had clearly been chewed to pieces by something. At that moment, Tang Ao suddenly had a bad feeling. There must be some powerful Yao beasts here that could feast on the essence, earth, and fire. Of course, Tang Ao wasn't afraid of this unknown demon beast. What Tang Ao was truly worried about was that this fellow had eaten all the Earth Fire Essence flame. If that was the case, things would be troublesome. After discovering that there was a demon beast that ate the Earth Fire Essence flame, Tang Ao simply stopped looking for the Earth Fire Essence flame and started looking for traces of the demon beast. But what surprised Tang Ao was that this demon beast seemed to have completely integrated with its surroundings. Tang Ao observed for a long time, but did not find any traces of demon beasts in the surroundings. Kacha! Behind Tang Ao suddenly heard a crisp sound. With Tang Ao's current strength, he naturally wouldn't hallucinate. In other words, there really was a crisp sound coming from that direction. Tang Ao immediately used his sky polar eyes to look in that direction. Then, Tang Ao was surprised to see a crimson crystal the size of a finger. Although this piece of Earth Fire Essence was bigger than the previous one, it was still a fragment. Tang Ao waved his hand, and the Earth Fire Essence flame flew out. This time, Tang Ao could clearly see a row of teeth marks on the Earth Fire Essence flame. Seeing this row of teeth marks, Tang Ao felt a little funny. This was because Tang Ao realized that this little fellow that could swallow the Earth Fire Essence flame didn't even have all its teeth. With this discovery, Tang Ao began to search the ruins in great detail. Tang Ao didn't believe that even his sky polar eyes wouldn't be able to find this fellow. But what made Tang Ao helpless was that this demon beast was really easy to hide in this space. Now, Tang Ao was completely sure that this unknown, strange, demonic beast, whether it was its figure or aura, could completely blend in with the magma. Chapter 1934. Not long ago, Tang Ao made a fortune from Great Dream Dao, Lord's treasury. Now, Tang Ao didn't have anything else on him, but he could get as many treasures as he wanted. After choosing for a while, Tang Ao took out a pearl that was the size of a longan and was surrounded by reddish gold flames. This was a fire spirit bead, a first-grade immortal material that was very precious. But after thinking about it, Tang Ao found that the fire spirit bead was useless to him. So Tang Ao took it out. Most importantly, there were a lot of fire spirit beads in Great Dream Dao, Lord's treasury. There were more than 90 of them. Therefore, it wasn't a big deal for Tang Ao to take one out as bait. After taking out the fire spirit bead, Tang Ao began to think about how to lure this demonic beast out. But what Tang Ao didn't expect was that after he took out the fire spirit bead, a string of bubbles appeared in the magma in front of him. Then Tang Ao saw a little guy the size of a kitten with a red and transparent body coming out of it. After coming out of the magma, this little fellow wasn't afraid of Tang Ao. Instead, it reached its paw into the magma and took out a piece of earth fire essence. After taking out the earth fire essence, the little fellow pointed at the fire spirit bead in Tang Ao's hand and handed over the earth fire essence. This scene made Tang Ao not know whether to laugh or cry. Tang Ao never thought that this demonic beast that ate the earth fire essence would be such a cute little fellow. Something was wrong. Soon, Tang Ao found something unusual. The little fellow's aura gave Tang Ao a very familiar feeling. A moment later, Tang Ao's eyes were filled with shock as he looked at the little fellow that stretched out its paw to exchange for the fire spirit bead. Because at this time, Tang Ao finally remembered where he felt this aura before. Not long ago, in Great Dream Dao Lord's 6th treasury, Tang Ao obtained a trace of innate earth origin aura. The innate earth source aura also gave off the same feeling. Therefore, Tang Ao knew that the little fellow in front of him was not a demonic beast, but a manifestation of innate fire origin aura. Seeing that Tang Ao didn't exchange with it, the little fellow patted its little belly and growled. Seeing this scene, Tang Ao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This innate fire origin aura had not only taken form, but it also had its own sentience. Now it could really be considered as a special life form. At this moment, the earth fire essence in the little fellow's hand had turned into 2 pieces. It was obvious that he wanted to use 2 pieces of earth fire essence to exchange for the fire spirit pearl with Tang Ao. Seeing that the little fellow was very smart, Tang Ao handed over the spirit bead. After getting the spirit bead, the little fellow excitedly threw the 2 pieces of earth fire essence to Tang Ao. At the same time, it put the fire spirit bead into its mouth and chewed. Tang Ao was secretly puzzled. Under Tang Ao's perception, this innate fire origin strength was similar to his, only at the spirit sea realm. Previously, Tang Ao obtained the innate earth origin aura. Although that aura didn't take shape and didn't have any intelligence, Tang Ao felt a vast and ancient aura from the innate earth origin aura. Compared to the innate earth origin aura, this innate fire origin aura seemed too weak. Chapter 1935. Tang Ao's eyes lit up after thinking for a moment and said, "Little fellow, I have a lot of fire spirit pearls for you to eat. Are you willing to follow me?" After Tang Ao finished speaking, the innate fire origin turned its big eyes, then turned around and left. Tang Ao was stunned. With this little thing's spiritual wisdom, it shouldn't be so smart. But soon, Tang Ao didn't know whether to laugh or cry because the innate fire origin that had just left came back. Tang Ao also saw that there was a bracelet on each of its wrists. Tang Ao could see that this bracelet was obviously a storage spirit artifact. However, the 2 bracelets were of a very high grade and had already surpassed the category of spirit artifacts. It would be more accurate to say that it was a storage immortal artifact. In addition, Tang Ao saw that the little fellow was also wearing an artifact armor made of fire silk. It looked like it had packed its things and was ready to go on a long journey. Seeing it like this, Tang Ao secretly laughed in his heart and said, "I will call you Little Flame in the future. Let's go." Tang Ao took out 10 fire spirit pearls and put them into the little fellow's bracelet. Moreover, Tang Ao found that after this little fellow ate the fire spirit pearls, its cultivation had improved a lot. Although Little Flame's aura was still a little weak, as the innate fire origin's aura, it was able to swallow the fire spirit pearls, which made Tang Ao feel ashamed. Tang Ao brought little flame to an empty place. Tang Ao estimated that the netherworld flame's advancement would cause a commotion, so Tang Ao threw out many array flags and set up a shielding array. After everything was ready, Tang Ao summoned the netherworld flame and let it float in front of him. He then took out the earth fire essence flame. After feeling the earth fire essence flame, the netherworld flame rolled up and engulfed the whole piece of earth fire essence flame. Then, Tang Ao saw the netherworld flame burning fiercely, and the surrounding temperature suddenly rose. Tang Ao's forehead was soon covered in sweat. Little Flame, who was lazily eating the fire spirit pearl, saw the change of the netherworld flame and immediately brightened up. It then climbed up and walked in front of Tang Ao, pointing at the netherworld flame and then at its stomach. Tang Ao was speechless. This little thing actually wanted to eat the netherworld flame. Immediately, Tang Ao patted its little head and said, "This is the flame I use to refine elixirs. You can't eat it. Go and play." After sending Little Flame away, Tang Ao looked at the netherworld flame nervously. After all, it was Tang Ao's first time evolving a flame. Moreover, Tang Ao had a piece of holy yang stone with him. In other words, as long as there were no accidents, Tang Ao would be able to witness the birth of a grade 9 spirit fire with his own eyes. In the lava cave, the netherworld flame's aura continued to rise. The earth fire essence flame within the netherworld flame was also shrinking. 4 hours later, the earth fire essence flame was completely refined by the netherworld flame. At this time, Tang Ao could clearly feel that the netherworld flame was now a grade 3 spirit fire. Although the earth fire essence flame was not bad, its grade was too low. It was a second grade immortal material. However, the holy yang stone that the netherworld flame was going to devour was a true grade 3 immortal material. After adjusting his state, Tang Ao took out the holy yang stone. However, it was completely different from what Tang Ao had imagined. This time, not only did the netherworld flame not devour the holy yang stone, it even seemed to be afraid of it. This made Tang Ao speechless. As a future grade 9 spirit fire, or even a grade 9 immortal fire, the netherworld flame didn't even dare to devour a single immortal material. This was simply too embarrassing for Tang Ao. With a thought from Tang Ao, the netherworld flame wrapped around the sacred yang stone. Under Tang Ao's control, the netherworld flame also began to refine the holy yang stone. However, the process of the netherworld flame refining the holy yang stone was not as smooth. Tang Ao controlled the evolved netherworld flame and continued refining it for an hour, but there was no change to the holy yang stone. On the other hand, the holy yang stone attracted Little Flame to the point of drooling. It kept extending its little claws, wanting to grab the holy yang stone in the netherworld flame. Chapter 1936. Tang Ao was speechless. With this speed, it would take at least 10 days to half a month for the netherworld flame to refine the holy sunstone. Not to mention 10 days to half a month, Tang Ao could not even wait for a day. Previously, in the 100 Treasure Tower, Tang Ao had already promised Yunwan that he would give her the spirit pill tomorrow. Although Tang Ao already had the ability to refine the spirit pill, without a suitable flame, it would be impossible for Tang Ao to refine it. Of course, if Tang Ao's cultivation was extremely high, then Tang Ao could use his spiritual power or immortal spiritual power to condense an inner flame to refine the spirit pill. As his cultivation increased, the inner flame that was condensed would be even more powerful. However, the current Tang Ao did not have to think too much. If he wanted to use his own alchemy flame to refine the immortal pellet, other than some talented warriors or warriors who had awakened a special life spirit, it would be impossible for him to do so without the cultivation of the astral reaching realm. Right now, Tang Ao's cultivation had only recovered to the first level of the Sea of Souls realm. He was still miles away from the astral reaching realm. As if it knew that Tang Ao was in trouble, Little Flame once again came to Tang Ao's side. However, this time, it clearly knew that Tang Ao would not let it eat the Holy Sunstone. Therefore, Little Flame only spat out a ball of light, golden flame onto the netherworld flame. This ball of light, golden flame quickly merged with the netherworld flame. Seeing Little Flame's action, Tang Ao was stunned for a moment. Then a happy expression appeared on his face. This was because after the golden flame spat out by Little Flame merged with the netherworld flame, the netherworld flame suddenly became extremely violent, just like a volcano eruption. Under the berserk burning of the netherworld flames, the sacred sunstone that had been unable to refine finally showed some reaction. With the sky polar eyes, Tang Ao could see that the surface of the holy sunstone was filled with tiny cracks. Previously, there was no reaction after burning it for 2 hours. Now, it only took a few breaths of time to achieve this effect. Naturally, Tang Ao was very satisfied. Little guy, you did well. Tang Ao praised Little Flame generously and took out 2 fire spirit pearls from his storage ring for Little Flame. After obtaining the fire spirit pearl, Little Flame didn't even bother to be courteous with Tang Ao. He immediately grabbed a fire spirit pearl, and with a crunch sound, the fire spirit pearl was crushed by this little fellow. Tang Ao then heard the little fellow putting the fire spirit pearl into its mouth and chewing on it with crunching sounds. Tang Ao was speechless. As a first-grade immortal material, the fire spirit pearl's hardness was extremely high. Even if Tang Ao were to use the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul to punch with all his might, he might not be able to shatter the fire spirit pearl. But right now, Little Flame was eating the fire spirit pearl like it was a jelly bean, chewing it up and eating it. Tang Ao could only say that this little thing's teeth were so good that even the tough fire spirit pearl was nothing in front of it. Not continuing to look at Little Flame, Tang Ao's gaze returned to the netherworld flame. After absorbing and refining the earth fire essence, the netherworld flame had already advanced to become a 3rd-grade spirit fire. Right now, as long as this holy sunstone was refined, the netherworld flame would become a 9th-grade spirit fire, a powerful existence second only to the immortal fire. However, refining the holy sunstone was not easy. Chapter 1937. Seeing Tang Ao's gaze, Little Flame, who was lying lazily on the ground, immediately became spirited. Little Flame seemed to already know what Tang Ao was going to do. Thus, Little Flame did not waste any words and directly pointed at Tang Ao's storage ring with its little paw. Its meaning was self-evident. This little fellow was obviously very principled. He would only work if he was given benefits. Tang Ao did not know whether to laugh or cry as he patted Little Flame's head. Subsequently, Tang Ao simply took out all the fire spirit pearls and placed them into the bracelet on Little Flame's wrist. He then said to it, "Little fellow, now that all the fire spirit pearls are yours, this sacred sunstone is yours. Hurry up and spit out the fire," Tang Ao said as he patted Little Flame's little belly. After Little Flame received so many fire spirit pearls from Tang Ao, its eyes lit up. Soon after, Tang Ao saw the little fellow's belly slowly bulging up. At the same time, a terrifying aura was also brewing in Little Flame's mouth. As time passed, the aura became increasingly terrifying. Finally, when the aura was brewed to an extreme, Tang Ao saw a millstone-sized golden fireball being spat out by the little fellow. When he recalled that this little fellow had only spat out a fist-sized fireball, Tang Ao was extremely speechless. This little fellow really did not learn good things at such a young age, and only knew how to extort others. However, Little Flame was indeed worthy of being the manifestation of the innate fire essence. The nether flame was unable to do anything to the holy sunstone, but under Little Flame's golden flames, it was like snow falling into a pot of boiling oil. The refining speed instantly increased by tens of times. At this moment, the sacred sunstone was being refined at a speed visible to the naked eye in the netherworld flame. As the sacred sunstone slowly fused into the netherworld flame, the aura of the netherworld flame suddenly rose. After seeing this scene, Tang Ao was relieved. At this rate, the netherworld flame would be able to completely refine the sacred sunstone in 4 hours at most. It had been almost 10 years since Tang Ao left the black-yellow continent. He wondered how Uncle Fu in Limestone City was doing during these 10 years. At the same time, he also wanted to know if his fellow disciples of the Seven Kills sect were doing well. And La Kale, which plane did she go to? Can I still find her? Or rather, when would he be able to meet her again? This world was way too vast. Even if it was Tang Ao in his previous life who had the cultivation of peak level 9 astral reaching realm, it would only be a drop in the ocean. Even at the level of Emperor Hades and the others, it wasn't the end of cultivation. After coming out of Great Dream Tao Master's Tao Palace, Tang Ao understood that even Tao Masters could fall. The path of martial arts seemed to have no beginning, no end, and no limit. As he lamented his own insignificance, Tang Ao became even more resolute in his heart. No matter what, he had to reach the peak of the martial Tao in this lifetime. Regardless of whether it was Origin Magnetic Tao Lord or anyone else blocking his way, Tang Ao had to eliminate all obstacles and climb to the peak of martial arts. With these thoughts in mind, Tang Ao suddenly decided to lighten up. It was as if the heavy burden that had been pressing down on him had vanished into thin air in an instant. This feeling was very mysterious. Tang Ao felt as if he had grasped onto something. Tang Ao knew that this state was the easiest to comprehend. Therefore, Tang Ao hurriedly operated the 7 Kills Divine Tao and began to deduce the third sword. Chapter 1938. After operating the 7 Killing Divine Path, Tang Ao's mental strength came to a gray space. Tang Ao was naturally familiar with this place. After all, the first 2 sword moves of Tang Ao's 7 Killing Divine Path had been derived from this place. With a thought, Tang Ao's Green Lotus Sword Soul appeared instantly. Then, the 7 Green Lotus Swords combined into one and appeared in Tang Ao's right hand. Tang Ao's eyes narrowed, and the long sword in his hand danced. In an instant, a sword net flew out from Tang Ao's hand. The sword net was formed by countless sword chi. As long as the sword chi was in front of it, it would instantly become riddled with holes. This sword move was the first sword move of the 7 Killing Divine Path, Wind and Cloud Slaughter. After performing the first sword move, Tang Ao leaped and retracted his sword momentum. After landing, Tang Ao's body pressed down slightly. The surrounding Yuan Qi surged wildly, constantly gathering on the Green Lotus Sword. Suddenly, lightning constantly gathered on the Green Lotus Sword. Under the constant gathering of the lightning, Tang Ao's right hand seemed to be unable to control the Green Lotus Sword and began to tremble slightly. However, Tang Ao did not stop gathering Yuan Qi. After a long time, when Tang Ao felt that he had reached a limit, Tang Ao narrowed his eyes and immediately swung his sword. Then, a huge crescent-shaped sword chi slashed out from the Green Lotus Sword and flashed into the void ahead. Wherever it passed, the surrounding space was left with traces. After slashing out with this sword move, the Yuan Qi in Tang Ao's body was instantly consumed by 70%. From this, it was not difficult to see how powerful this sword move was. However, because all of this happened in the sea of consciousness, with a thought from Tang Ao, the exhausted Yuan Qi was instantly replenished, and Tang Ao once again returned to his peak state. Then, Tang Ao seriously operated the 7 Killing Divine Path and began to derive the third sword move. For a moment, the entire sea of consciousness was filled with sword chi and sword shadows. Tang Ao was completely immersed in this deduction and simply could not feel the passage of time in the outside world. At the peak of the Flying Star Cliff, there was a very luxurious building complex. This was the headquarters of the Flying Star Alliance on the Flying Star continent. It was also the place where the Liu clan's warriors lived and cultivated. At this moment, in the Liu clan's meeting hall, Liu Chuanjia was seated with a slight frown. On the left of Liu Chuanjia was a white-haired youth holding a folding fan. If Tang Ao was here, he would naturally be able to recognize this white-haired youth as Shi Yun. Although Liu Chuanjia did not look as strong as before, Ao knew that he was definitely not young. He was at least an old monster who had cultivated for 10,000 years. Sitting on Liu Chuanjia's left was a middle-aged man whose body was surging with blood energy. Tang Ao also knew this middle-aged man. He was Shui Vulture, who had chased after Tang Ao previously. Apart from these two, the other 3 of the 5 Liu clan elders and Liu Xingjin were also present. Duan Rue, is what you said true? Although Liu Chuanjia had received some news one after another, what Duan Rue said just now still surprised Liu Chuanjia. Duan Rue was the second son of the Duan clan's patriarch, Duan Chengyang. Although he was the second son, he was smart and had amazing martial arts talent. Therefore, Duan Chengyang liked him very much. Chapter 1939. In other words, in less than half a day, Tang Ao had killed 4 peak 6th level Origin Martial Realm martial artists in succession. Most importantly, of the Fallen Star tokens that Liu Chuanjia and the others were most concerned about, 4 of them were already in Tang Ao's hands. Although the whereabouts of the other 2 Fallen Star tokens were still unknown, there was a great chance that they were in Tang Ao's hands. Mr. Sure, Tang Ao has already obtained the Fallen Star tokens before us. What should we do? Although Shi Yun's body did not seem to have any origin energy fluctuation, Liu Chuanjia did not dare to look down on him. In Liu Chuanjia's opinion, Shi Yun must have used some method to conceal his cultivation. Otherwise, he would not have been nearly killed in one move. However, Liu Chuanjia's knowledge was limited. He did not know that the reason why Shi Yun was able to do that was because Liu Chuanjia was inside Shi Yun's immortal talisman. Once he left the immortal talisman, Shi Yun would be suppressed by the rules of the Flying Star continent. Therefore, Shi Yun was really just an ordinary person. However, if someone attacked Shi Yun at this time, he could instantly summon the immortal talisman and cover the enemy. Although Shi Yun's cultivation was still suppressed inside the immortal talisman, he could display the power of a spiritual sea realm expert without any problem. In addition, Liu Chuanjia knew that the guy wearing a blood-red robe, sitting in front of Shi Yun, was also a ruthless character. Before, Liu Chuanjia had personally seen this person fight against Shi Yun. Although Shi Yun could suppress this person, he could not kill this guy, and Liu Chuanjia could not even withstand one move from Shi Yun. With such a comparison, the difference in strength was clear. Although Liu Chuanjia did not understand why so many powerful experts suddenly appeared on the Flying Star continent, this matter was not important at the moment. What Liu Chuanjia was most interested in right now was to leave the Flying Star continent and go to other continents with spirit energy to continue cultivating. Ever since he knew about the existence of spirit energy and even immortal spirit energy, Liu Chuanjia could not sit still. Liu Chuanjia could cultivate to his current level on the Flying Star continent by relying on origin energy. Naturally, he knew that origin energy and spirit energy could not be mentioned in the same breath. At this moment, Liu Chuanjia was very regretful in his heart. If he had known that the Fallen Star tokens were used to activate the ancient formation on the Flying Star Cliff, he would have already taken back the Fallen Star tokens from the big powers. However, it was too late to regret it now because the Fallen Star tokens had all fallen into Tang Ao's hands. At this moment, Tang Ao's cultivation was beyond his expectations. Liu Chuanjia felt that even he might not be a match for Tang Ao. Alliance Master Liu, why are you in such a hurry? Even if Tang Ao obtains 6 Fallen Star tokens, as long as the remaining 2 are still in my hands, the ancient formation won't be able to be activated. In addition, The ancient formation is on the Flying Star Cliff. If Tang Ao wants to use the Falling Star token, he must come to the Flying Star Cliff. Sure, Tingyan also knew that he had misjudged this time. This Tang Ao was obviously not simple. Otherwise, he would not have collected the Fallen Star tokens of the four major factions so decisively. Mr. Sure means that we should ambush Tang Ao around the ancient formation. This time, the one who asked the question was the eldest of the 5 Liu family elders, Liu Renyi. The 5 Liu family elders had been together for many years and had deep feelings for each other. Now that he heard that Liu Renwu and Liu Renzi had died tragically at the hands of Tang Ao, Liu Ren wished he could swallow Tang Ao whole. Chapter 1940. And let's do it that way. Shui Vulture nodded. Sure, Yin was right. The most important thing at the moment was to open this ancient grand formation as soon as possible. As for other matters, everything else could be discussed. Shui Vulture wasn't clear about the others, but he would never let Tang Ao off. Especially since his great overarching blood net was still in Shui Hen's hands. The great overarching blood net was his natal immortal weapon. Naturally, he wouldn't give it up. As for the news that Tang Ao had broken through to the Sea of Soul Realm, Shui Vulture didn't care about it all. Although Tang Ao had already cultivated to the Sea of Soul Realm, with Shui Vulture and Shi Yun here, it would be useless for Tang Ao to cultivate to the Sea of Soul Realm. Shui Vulture didn't expect that there would be another chaotic heaven realm expert in the Flying Star continent apart from him. While they were talking about Tang Ao was still in the Earth Firestone ruins. In the depths of the Earth Firestone ruins, Tang Ao was sitting cross-legged quietly. At this moment, Tang Ao had completely forgotten about the time of the outside world. He was in a very mysterious state of enlightenment. After a long time, Tang Ao suddenly opened his eyes. At the same time, his face revealed a trace of joy. Tang Ao jumped up from the ground. Then, with a thought, the Azure Lotus Sword soul instantly floated behind Tang Ao. Tang Ao waved his hand, and the Azure Lotus Sword soul combined into one. It turned into a green light and appeared in Tang Ao's hand. Then, Tang Ao held the Azure Lotus Sword and brandished it. Tang Ao's figure moved and stabbed out 4 times in a flash. Then, a natural sword momentum suddenly took shape. Tang Ao took advantage of this momentum and stabbed out several times. In an instant, Tang Ao's figure suddenly disappeared, leaving behind a terrifying sword chi in front of Tang Ao. These sword chi streaked across the sky and seemed to tear the void apart. The sword chi was like a dancing phoenix, but this beautiful dance was accompanied by death. Phew! After the sword chi phoenix disappeared, Tang Ao let out a long sigh. He sheathed his sword and stood still. The 3rd sword of the 7 Slaughter Divine Tao, Phoenix Dances Through the 9 Heavens, had been completed. Tang Ao was still rather excited. Tang Ao had not expected that this trip to the Earth Firestone ruins would yield such a great harvest. There is no need to say that the Netherworld flame could advance continuously, but Tang Ao never thought that he would be able to obtain the innate fire source aura. Other than that, Tang Ao had finally mastered the 3rd sword of the 7 Slaughter Divine Path. Hard work was important in cultivating the 7 Kills Divine Path, but it was more important to have an epiphany at a specific time. Tang Ao had been cultivating the 7 Slaughter Sacred Way for a long time. He had even cultivated it to the height of the life and death realm. However, when Tang Ao cultivated to the life and death realm, he did not sense the existence of the 7-killing Sage Dao's 3rd sword. With a thought, the Azure Lotus Sword soul in Tang Ao's hand slowly disappeared. At this moment, after comprehending the 3rd sword, Tang Ao's 7 Slaughter Sacred Way was considered to be at the small success stage. Tang Ao knew that the frequency of the Azure Lotus Sword soul would increase in future battles. Therefore, he had to think of a way to raise the grade of the Azure Lotus Sword soul if he had the chance. Although the Emperor Jade platform in his soul sea was constantly nourishing his life soul, Tang Ao really did not know how long it would take for his life soul to advance just by relying on the Emperor Jade platform's nourishment. After putting away the Azure Lotus Sword Soul, Tang Ao saw that Little Flame was already lying on a rock and sleeping soundly. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.